Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, how dare you, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate forum, which you should definitely all join. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are premiering. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patreon, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of the people who do support me on Patreon. So a massive shout out to Tom Hawkins, Tina Baker, theflatearthchannel.com, Texas Mike, Skeptic936, Sam Hain, Renee, Reinhardt, Qatar Craig, Paige, Michael, Matt, Life is Short, Kirsten Smith, Joshua, Jeranism, Godrockin, Fireball X, Felix Hung, FE Diplomat, Edwin Johnson, David Wayne Foster, Dank, Chow Young Cat, Burn Fat Till My Stomach Is As Flat As the Earth, Billy Hivolt, Alistair Main and Adrian Quintana. So massive shout out to all of you. Now we are currently in the interim stages between two debates, so what I'm going to do is actually raise the mic on the G Plus Hangouts on the air so you can enjoy their dulcet tones, along with everyone who's in Discord, who's heard me do that intro, while I set up for the next live show.
Always have a good conversation when you're lukewarm and don't take a stand. That's all you want.
Jose, do you agree that if you come across one impossibility on your model, then the model's impossible?
I don't see it that way. I see a lot of little discrepancies, and I propose a lot of thought experiments that they kind of made no sense, and some people struggle to explain it to me from one side and the other side of the mouth. But I don't just reject it and throw it away because one thing don't make sense.
If it's impossible, it can't be the right model, right? You can't have it's impossible, but I'll accept it anyway because everything else is beautiful and it works.
But I had three alternatives, Riley. I had the flat Earth alternative. I had the globe heliocentric alternative. I actually had the geocentric alternative, and I also had the rectangular looping alternative. And out of all, the flat Earth is the more holes that it has, both the rectangular looping and the azimuthal equidistant. It's the more holes, and many things don't work. And because of the globe have a little bit of a gaps and little discrepancies, it holds more weight as for today for me.
It's a crap whether or not the AE map works. It's just a model.
Exactly, because I haven't seen anybody else propose on how the Earth looks. It's flat, it's stationary, waterless level. Okay, I understand that, but I need a visual. As for right now, the only visual that the ball side has is the AE map, unless somebody else proposes it. You guys are going to continue getting it from them unless you propose how the Earth looks.
Get out of here. Prove your nonsense first.
Hey, Jose, can I ask
Prove
Jose a
the
question?
spinning ball. Hold on, Paul. You prove that spinning ball first. We don't have to give you an alternative. Prove your nonsense.
I'm the little man. I cannot prove anything. I'm just in the discussion because I enjoy learning, you know.
Let me
You
get it
shouldn't
right.
be in the
Hold on,
discussion.
let me get it right, Jose.
Then
You're
you
the little
shouldn't be in
man.
the discussion then.
You're the little man
Right?
and can't prove anything, but you're more than happy to demand it of us.
No, it wasn't
Yeah.
a demand. I said you should if you can, because if I say, oh, I found curvature in a footage that I cut, I can present that. If
You
I say
didn't
the Earth
find
look
any
like this, I can
curvature.
give you with an image of Earth from space, even if you accept it or not. I'm not telling you it's
CGI
unscientific,
image.
but I give it to you. You know?
CGI image. Space, the vacuum of space doesn't exist.
Yeah, I'll show you something, you know. That's the thing, but the flat
Yeah,
Earth
I'll
cannot
show you
present an
something.
illustration.
Yeah, I'll show you something too.
And I apologize. I never was a debater, and I know I'm trying to get baited to get this debate that whatever little niche that you guys find.
Get
Jose
off
can
of here.
debate it.
Then go
But-
swimming or something. Go swimming.
Okay,
go
thank you.
fishing.
All right, Nathan, I apologize, but your boss told me to leave, so I'm sorry. I gotta leave.
Death told you to go. Where's Death? I didn't see Death.
I don't think that's what he said.
No, he said that QE told him to
Nah,
go.
I think Nathan is the owner of the show. Nathan, should I stay or should I go? It's up to you, man. It's your channel.
I
Don't flip flop,
don't
Jose.
think.
If
I'm
you're
not
gonna
I
go,
can
going
go.
stay
He
if
left
Nathan
and
want
came
me to. I
back
can
2
hang out
seconds
for a bit.
later.
Do whatever you like.
Jose, chill.
Being so disrespectful,
Hey,
like he
hey,
is,
stay
he just
and
listen
go.
and tell me to go, like
Stay
if it
and
was his
go.
house. It's
Shut
okay.
up. Shut your mouth. You freaking clown. You're a schmuck.
So okay, let me see how much respect there is for Nathan Oakley. Nathan, you should I hang out for a bit or should I go? What do you think?
I'm not the boss of you. You do whatever you want.
No. I would like to stay a little bit, but it's up to you. You know, I'm asking you.
Go fishing
Would
or
you
something.
like
Go eat
Jose
some
Flip Flopper the
crayons.
Glober to stay
Go
for a
eat
few
some
minutes or go
crayons,
now?
you crayon muncher.
I'm asking you, Nathan. I'm giving you two options. What do you
You're
think?
a crayon muncher.
If you want me to check with the
But-
boss, I'll give Dirth a quick ring and see if it's cool by him.
QE is rumpusing you. Was rumpusing you when you were trying to talk,
Yeah,
Nathan?
yes.
I didn't hear
Piss
that.
off.
Calm down, John. Come on.
Paul
Jose,
had a
cool.
question. Paul had a question. Paul, go ahead.
Jose, can you see my screen?
I'm on my mobile. I can see it. It's small.
Okay, this is interesting. It's from thought.com. It says a model is used for situations when it is known that the hypothesis has a limitation on its validity. So tell me how, if that's true, that you can prove something with a model.
My brain is not for this. This is too advanced for me today. I just came to have a talk and not to analyze and cross-reference definitions and documents, bro. I cannot do this.
Well, you
And I might have
This
used
is
the
the
term
same.
model. I might have used the term model, but what I mean is an illustration. I just need to take a little look. I need to see it.
I find it funny. This is from thought.com, which is that same citation, the same site that Kosher gave us a citation for that all the ballers hate.
Well, I mean, the question is
Too
simple.
funny.
I mean, how does a model prove something? Because it's basically saying you don't know the hypothesis, so you just make a model to try to do something. So how does it prove it?
Dude, I just woke up like half an hour. I don't understand the crap of what you presented me. I'm really like doing multitasking a lot of things. I'm just it's good when it's flowing. But if you present me a document, can you explain me this? I'm not gonna pay it. I mean, I'm not paying the attention that is required to do it. I'll look back to this, but not now.
Let me help Jose out here. When I wake up a little bit sleepy, I sometimes think the Earth is round myself.
Don't you hear me? How I'm all relaxed because I just woke up. I just ate.
Oh, nice flip-flop excuses. You know, when a flat earther wakes up who's tired, who's just eating, you know, he falls into a state of thinking the Earth is a ball too.
Shout out to Arwin in the early bird show.
How do you run a debate show when you don't even have a stand on anything?
I don't have a debate show. The debate word is anywhere on my channel, bro. So
but you don't take a stand on anything, do you?
Yeah, he does. Yes, he does. When the ballers are getting their asses handed to him, he comes in with this freaking Spanish incoherent nonsense, disrupt everything, or he puts them on mute. So yeah, he gets involved.
I mute everybody at once if everything got out of control. And I warn them, I say, if you guys start rumpusing everybody and not letting others speak, I'll kick everybody and then open a new panel. That's all I do. I don't mute individuals.
So I have a question, Jose. A little while ago, you said right now your favorite arguments are gravity and Coriolis, right? And Riley asked you about gravity, so I want to ask about Coriolis and how you feel about this argument and how you feel like, you know, what do you think about it? What's your stance? Because I'm sure
it's too early for
listening.
him. It's too
No,
early.
it's perfect timing for that. And you are gonna love my answer. That's why those two are my favorite subjects to listen to. My favorite subjects. You see what's going on, John?
Really,
John, I want to hear. I want to hear.
Hold on a second. Define the Coriolis effect.
Yeah, what's going on with you, John? You're right today?
Define the Coriolis effect. Define it simply.
Somebody answer for him because he's not talking to me. I'm not ignoring him. He's too disrespectful. He's too disrespectful to me. Why do I have to give any kind of time to a disrespectful guy
I'm
like
a
John?
snowflake. I can't.
I wish I really want to call you
guys,
like
guys,
asshole
guys,
and
let's not
fucking
this.
ass,
Jose,
like,
I'm a victim.
piece of
hold on.
shit, and bottom feeder, all this stuff. But I'm not going to do it, John. I respect-
Fine. The Coriolis.
Hold on.
That's
Just hold on. We don't need a cited definition. Just describe to us what you understand the Coriolis effect to be.
Well, I had a question from Chocolate, and I really like to address that.
Is it a much easier question?
No, it's just the first question that was asked for me, and I want to keep it real with Chocolate. He's cool.
Yeah, he asked you about the Coriolis effect in gravity. So I said, please define the Coriolis effect with sugar on top.
Okay, Chocolate. Yeah, let me address your question. Unless John keep interrupting, it's up to you and him then to talk to him. I said, like, dude, you gotta let people do. All right, so Chocolate.
Jose, just before you do address him, right? You're making it seem like you've got to win, but in reality, Chocolate's asked about Coriolis and gravity, and all we're doing is we're reaching a meeting of minds. So it's not that we're being unreasonable to you. We just want to understand that you understand and we understand the same thing. In other words, we're all on the same page before we start discussing the subject of Coriolis. We just want to understand that we all get what it is. So, and by asking you what you think it is, that establishes with us that you do know what it is.
I really like to address this for the past 5 minutes since I keep getting rumpus.
Please go. Go ahead.
Shut the fuck up. You're a
clown. Thank you,
Go
John.
ahead. I want to hear the response.
Go on, Jose.
Thank you.
You've obfuscated enough.
So I say, and I restate, Coriolis and gravity is my favorite two things to listen to and make people engage in the discussion. And it is because both of them, there's everybody in the globe side think they know the explanations by the book and by like the way that everybody's going to understand them. And they say, oh, I got you in a nutshell, in a sentence. I can give you a paragraph. I cannot explain it in 5 minutes. But besides that, everybody say they can explain it. Every single time that these things get addressed, it gets more convoluted or more double speak. That is why, dude, I'm just trying to speak just 1 full minute without you being the fucking asshole that you are. Go back to your bed and go back to fuck your mom, bro. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Jose, he's interrupted you because of your long, drawn-out monologue about you reminiscing about how interesting the previous conversations
so nobody can speak more than 1 minute.
And now
you're
rumpusing me.
Can I just hear his voice from the question that I have?
Hello? So, Jose, yes.
You know what? This is the moment that I was being really nice. I apologize to Chocolate, Sleeping Warrior. Let me see what is here. Paul was really cool. Thank you guys. I apologize. I cannot deal with this.
Deal with what? You're rumpusing the living crap out of everybody when we ask you what the Coriolis effect is. And then when it comes down to us tying it down concisely, you drop. So I don't really get it. You rumpused us to obfuscate. You're not describing Coriolis, Jose. That was it. And then you've dropped in amongst the rumpusing. Notice the rumpusing has now completely stopped. I call that the globe head mute button. So when they want to obfuscate something or not talk about something or not let your demolition of or rebuttal reach the audience, they'll just talk incessantly. Monologue. And if you say, come on, you're not answering my question. Oh, you're interrupting me. Yeah, because you're droning on and on and on about your previous experiences discussing the subject that we're asking you to define. Like we give two shits.
Yeah, absolutely nothing. Droning on about nothing, right? Just to obfuscate. He thinks he's some kind of sophist, right? He's just an Elmer Fudd clown. They all are. That's what they do. You got it right, Nathan. You're right on it.
I just wanted to hear, like, just coming from his perspective, right, what he feels about, and I know you don't care about his feelings or whatever, but it's that type of show today. Like, we're all bullshitting. There's no globers, really. So I wanted to hear from him, like, how he feels when he hears the arguments coming from the ballers, right? So he kind of sounded like he was going to get to a point where he was going to say something kind of like, I don't know, the ballers seem to think they have it all sewn up, but they don't. That type of thing, you know. So I mean, I don't know. I just wanted to know that because he's here, and I don't go on his show, so I don't really ask him questions like that. So
Chocolate.
anyway,
Chocolate, I too wanted to hear, but you were never going to hear it because he just walks the line so thinly that he says things and then he contradicts himself after he says things. Like you said, I mean, you can't pin him down. He just does not have a position.
If it's not a contradiction, he just drones on about absolutely nothing. Nothing.
That's what I was hoping he would say, that he's hearing the contradiction in the baller's argument. That's kind of what I was just trying to get to.
He can't identify it.
So then what would be the purpose of well, I mean, I can't define his thoughts, but if gravity and Coriolis are his favorite arguments, right? Why would that be? Right? And again, when he was describing it, he was getting to a point where he sounded like he was going to say the ballers sound like they got it all sewn up, but every time it's just a freaking car crash. So that's all I was curious about. I just wanted to hear that from
by him
that
saying
perspective.
by him saying that those two are his favorite arguments, and by those two arguments, they've died the last 2 weeks a horrible death, meaning the ballers. And Jose listens to the show, he knows. So then he still wants to say, oh, I'm in the middle between how flat earthers explain those two arguments versus how the ballers come back at them. He will not take a position. That's his problem. He's flip-flop Jose, as he said so at the end.
Well, they're his favorite arguments because he can't even define one of the terms in his argument. His favorite argument about what? Vapor?
Well, that's my point. If he ever defined it, which he won't, and that's why he danced around it when you asked the question, because you knew he was just going to drone forever, then he would be stuck to his definition. That's why I was trying to get him to commit to something, and he was dancing around until he finally did. And then later he said he accepts the heliocentric model. And I said, wait a minute. You just said earlier.
I don't know. It might sound weird, but I don't underestimate him in some aspects.
Of what? He can't even tie his shoes. Jeez,
I don't know. I can't.
I don't give credence when someone doesn't take a position. What's the point of talking to them if they can't define something or take a position? What's the point?
He couldn't give a straight answer on his favorite color.
Me and him have gotten into it on this show about, him flip-flopping back to the globe and all that. And, at first I gave him, kudos for it. Like, all right, that's what you want to do. That's great. Then, we had our back and forth, a few fights on here or whatever. But I don't know. Like, I think him being the way he is has given us some of the gold nuggets that we've gotten from his show.
Well, but that's entirely a different matter. Having a platform.
Yeah, but I think that only comes from him being the way he is. Right. I could be wrong.
No,
but
that's right.
If he was like absolute flat earther or absolute baller, I don't think it would be the same thing. It's because of how he's turned out that his show is what it is, and that we can get the little nuggets that we get out of it, because it's hilarious.
But we're not asking about his show or the nuggets that come out of his show. We're asking him to define Coriolis so that we know we're talking about the same thing. Because if he was at all honest, he would have said, "Well, it's two reference frames, Earth-based Coriolis."
Right, but you notice I didn't ask him that because I know that that's not the way to approach him. If I said to him, define Coriolis like John did, I wouldn't have gotten a response. You know what I'm saying? You got to kind of read the hand that you're dealing with.
Yeah, but
I'm not responded to that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I get it. But listen, we're not doing it over a beer and some chips. We're in a debate show, and if I see the guy's dancing, I'm going to go for it. And when you go for it, he starts flip-flopping.
What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now, we are joined by a whole bunch of people in both Google Plus Hangouts on air. Let's say hello to you first of all. We've got Sleeping Warrior, Paul, Quantum Eraser, Chocolate Saiyan, 10th Man, and Righteous Force. Hello, 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 hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Enthusiastic lot that you are. We've also got Ranty on Skype. Hello, Ranty, can you hear us? Bloody hell, didn't think you'd be asking me to say hello.
And we got Zanuck in Discord. Good morning, Zanuck.
Enthusiastic bunch that they are.
His mic might not be working. Hold on, let me check.
Blame it on the rain. Yeah, yeah.
It's not on server mute.
Yeah.
Should be working. Your mic's not working, Zanuck. You're flashing, but we don't hear anything. Anything.
He's in a different latitude. He needs to come here.
Just drop and rejoin. Anyway, any signs of Earth curvature?
Not from California.
Not on Earth.
Any signs of axial rotation?
Nope.
Nope.
No.
Me, or am I not hearing anything from Discord at all? Any chance you can just pop into Discord, Righteous Force, and just check that? No, stopped working. I can't hear anything from Discord. Isn't that bloody wonderful? Literally nothing has changed. Okay, so any evidence of the distance to the sun?
Definitely none.
Nope.
Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
No.
Nope. No evidence.
Okay, I think I've figured out what the problem is. Let's just have a look. Any evidence of the R value, Earth radius?
Nope. Presupposition. RB none.
Nope.
Any evidence of gas pressure
Yes, sir.
without the necessary antecedent of a container? Oh, there we go. I think we've got... Can someone say something in Discord?
Testing 1, 2, 3.
There we go.
Hello.
Perfect.
Testing.
Yeah, we're good. Thank you, Discord. We're working again.
Give me a ratio of energy divided by temperature.
Is this evidence of gas pressure without a container?
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't hear the first part.
Negative.
Can you say it again?
Yes.
Here we go, boys.
Looking at my barometer right now, it says 14.7 psi, 29.97 inches of mercury. There's pressure. I
Yeah.
don't see a container.
Yeah, because you're in a container.
What? So I'm in a container. Okay. Where's the container? Where's the walls of these container?
Where'd you get the gas pressure?
From the weight of the air above me. Oh, air doesn't have weight?
No, the sky in your rhetoric is claimed to be a vacuum.
It is a progressive vacuum. Yes, it is.
Right. Well, then there's no weight to that pressing down on the atmosphere below it.
Why is that?
Because it's a vacuum.
Yes, it's a vacuum.
Yes, that's right. Yes,
as you go lower,
would be
it becomes
something
higher
not
and higher
pressing
pressure.
down.
So less and less a vacuum as you go down.
Sorry, just talk through me pointing out that wouldn't be something weightier than it pressing down on it, because it isn't. And you just started talking through me like that was somehow addressing me with a rebuttal, even though I hadn't finished speaking.
Force over MA can account for the differential pressure.
What was that, Paul? Paul, what was that? You said force equals MA equals accounts for the differential pressure?
For the differential pressure.
Well, if there's a force.
No, mass over acceleration can account for the force, while the differential pressure exists in the upper atmosphere.
He wasn't talking about differential pressure, Paul. The question was put to him, how do you have gas pressure?
Yeah.
By the weight of the gas above you. So
and where
it
did you get
stacks
that?
up and creates pressure.
Yep, we got that
Pretty
bit.
simple.
And then I asked you, where did you get the gas pressure from in the first place?
It comes from the weight of the actual air.
And then I pointed out that in your rhetoric, your sky was a vacuum, undoing that argument.
Well, by definition, if you have the weight of the air above you, it's going to be progressively lower as you go up.
No, by definition, in your rhetoric, the sky is not a weight, it's a vacuum.
Correct.
So that undoes that argument. So not correct, and then you continue talking. Correct, and that obliterates the idea that there's a weight above something keeping the pressure of the air here when it's claimed to be a vacuum. That's the undoing of that assertion.
You're talking in circles, because if you have weight, then
no. I'm not talking in circles. You're talking in circles and keeping us talking in circles, because I demolish your argument, and then you go, yes, that's correct, the sky is a vacuum, even though you've previously asserted that the weight of the stuff above presses down on the gas below. No, if it's asserted that the sky is a vacuum, this isn't your opportunity to talk through me summarising again, where you will take us round in circles, undoubtedly.
Zanuck, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
So you're saying that the weight of the air, right? That the column of weight, obviously air doesn't do that, but you're saying that the weight is coming from that air.
Yes,
right?
air has weight. Correct. So the more weight you have above you, the more pressure you have.
So above that air, if there's a vacuum, how is that air providing weight downwards?
Because the weight is a force, and that force is pushing down. And so as you go higher,
so
you have less and less
of that. Weight itself is
weight.
A force?
So less weight, hold on, less weight has less pressure. Less pressure means vacuum. Differential pressure means vacuum.
Sorry, just for clarity, sorry to interrupt, Zanuck. You said down. Gas asserts pressure in all directions, though, doesn't it?
Gas pressure is in all directions. Yes, it is a scalar value, not a vector value.
So not just down, then?
Right.
Gas pressure is everywhere, correct.
So it's also pressing outwards and upwards, then?
Well, that's where you're getting the confusion between weight and...
No, I'm not confused. It presses in all directions, not just down. I'm not confused. It just sounds like when you say I'm confused, that means what you're about to do is engage in doublespeak.
No. It's a little confusing, but if you listen to the details, it's very clear.
It's clear that the gas expands in all directions, correct?
Weight is...
Not weight! Gas! Gas expands in all directions.
Yes.
So if the sky is a vacuum, the gas would expand into it.
All you need is a force, and the gas won't expand. A container or a force. And that force is the weight of the air. The weight of the air is pushing down as a vector and a magnitude. The pressure is scalar. It is all around you. It is created by that force, by that weight, creates the pressure. And the pressure is a force per unit area.
Oh, what area?
Really
Please.
simple.
What's the area you're going to be using in this instance, please? Because obviously the gas is expanding in all directions. And when it expands up, I want to know what the area it's going to press on is, please. Where do you get that measurement for?
Expanding. It's not expanding in all directions.
Yeah, it fucking is. You lying piece of shit. The gas expands in all directions. Do not lie. Excuse me. You are wrong. The gas does expand in all directions. How dare you assert such utter nonsense, simply based on your sphere religion? The gas does expand in all directions. You are wrong, Zanuck.
Tell me why I'm wrong.
Because gas does expand in all directions.
Unless it has a force acting on it.
No, Zanuck. Gas expands in all directions to fill the available volume. That doesn't mean you continue to talk through me when I pull down my pants and take a little poo on your crappy little religious assertion. That's not your cue to continue talking through me. Gas will expand in all directions. And now you explain that we need an area. Now, that doesn't stop happening because you assert a fundy belief in a force that doesn't exist and is not a force. So, we're still back to this area. And given that it does expand in all directions, contrary to your incorrect assertion you made moments ago, it does expand in all directions, and I want to know what the area is that it's going to press upon when it expands up.
Very easily with a barometer.
Sorry, I want to know what area it's going to press on when the gas expands upwards and outwards, as it absolutely will and does and must. What area? You conceded it needs an area for this mathematics. You seem to love mathematics. Now we've got the definition from you summarised by Paul, and we need an area. So what area is it pressing on at the top when it expands upwards, Zanuck?
It's not pressing on an area.
Yeah, it must! You've just said we've got an area in the maths. No, it's not going to press on an area. It's part of the maths, isn't it?
Whatever area there is, it's pressing.
Yeah, what area is there up by the sky vacuum, Fundy? What area's there as he talks through me? Because, of course, it's time for Fundy obfuscation. We've got it established that it's going to press on an area. The area's in the maths, and it expands in all directions. So what area is it pressing on at the top? Oh, it's just time for rumpusing and Fundy behaviour. Yeah, I'll calmly mute them. Yeah, because they're not listening. What's going on with the guy who's opening his mic to cause endless feedback? Yeah? What's it pressing on at the top? The gas is expanding in all directions. The maths needs an area. What area is it pressing on? By the vacuum of the sky.
Pressing on itself. There's no object for it to press on.
Well, then it won't be pressing. It'll be expanding into the available volume. As per gas law, it will expand to fill the available volume. And if the available volume is claimed to be a sky vacuum, the gas would be filling it. The fact that it isn't means it isn't a sky vacuum.
Because there's the force. It's really simple.
What force? Gravity isn't a force. So what force?
I didn't say. You said gravity.
What force?
You're talking gravity now?
What force? Are you deaf? What force? Are you deaf? You've said it's not needing a container if it's got a force. What force?
The weight is the...
Weight isn't a force, Fundy. Weight isn't something to press on, Fundy. Weight isn't a sky vacuum that gas could disperse into, Fundy.
You're talking in circles.
You think this is funny, Fundy?
Air has weight. You can weigh air. It's very simple. Pressure can be measured by a barometer, and you can validate that.
What about that area? So we've circle jerked back to the bit where we need an area for the mathematics. So given that it expands in all directions, what's it pressing on? Oh, it's rumpusing time because we're back to the obfuscated point we got to last time. What's it pressing on at the top, Zanuck?
That's the difference between a It's scalar value, and
I'm not asking about scalar values. I'm asking what area it's pressing on at the top. Gas is expanding in all directions. Fact. Now I want to know what area we're going to get from your sky vacuum. Are we going to get an area from your sky vacuum, Fundy?
the area of all objects. That's the area.
The area
Everything.
of the sky vacuum for the gas to press upon at the top. The area. We're going to get that from a sky vacuum. Are you stupid? You think we're going to get an area from an infinitely expanding vacuum? You're stupid. You're a fundamentalist religious zealot if you think we're going to get an area from that. We're not getting an area from a sky vacuum because it isn't an area to press upon. What it is a vast space for the gas to fill.
You're getting really heated here. It's just...
Heated? You and your perpetual lies about the world I live in are what piss me off. Royally. The sky is absolutely not a vacuum. If it was, the gas I'm breathing to get pissed off with you with would be filling that space instantaneously. The fact that it isn't means the sky is not a vacuum. You with your bullshit forces and silence when I ask you what force, and then you tell me about how much weight we've got, and ignore the fact we haven't got an area to press on. We've got an ever-increasing bullshit vacuum that the gas isn't dispersing into. Therefore, not a vacuum, just bullshit.
It has weight, Nathan.
It has weight, Nathan. I laugh about my religion when it's being handled. I'm taking down my pants and having a little poo on your religion, and the only thing you can do is giggle.
Mickey, get on there. Come on.
Because it's funny. Nathan, come on. This gets serious. Air has weight. We can measure it. Weight is a force.
And weight's not a force. What the bloody hell are you babbling on about? The gas is not going to be going down with your force of gravity. No. Right? The gas is expanding in all directions. It's not a downward force.
There's the weight, which is a downward force, and then...
What about the pressure? What about that? You keep equivocating. We're not talking about weight. We're talking about pressure.
Pressure, yes.
Yeah.
Pressure.
And what's it pressing on at the top, Fundy, where you claim there's a sky vacuum for that gas to disperse into, Fundy? What's it pressing on there to give you the pressure? You see, it's just rumpusing. We're getting concisely to the point, Zanuck, and all you're doing is interrupting me. What's it pressing on? At the top, where there's a sky vacuum for the gas to disperse into. Not weight, pressure.
Why do we measure vacuum at 100,000 feet?
Sorry, that's a question from me that doesn't answer what's it pressing on at the top, where there's claimed to be a vacuum, and it needs to press on something. It needs an area. Now, your shit about the gas having some downward force, is nonsense. It's expanding in all directions, Zanuck. Now, it's going to expand into that vacuum if it was there. It's not.
We can measure it. We can wait.
What? Measure what? Pressure? The force over an area?
Force over an area, yes. That's
right.
pressure.
What area is that force of the gas that expands in all directions, including up towards your fundy belief in a vacuum? What's the area up in the sky?
There is no area in the...
Then there is no sky vacuum.
There's no surface area in the sky. So it's...
Well, no, there will be something for that gas to press on. Otherwise, it would fuck off into space. Are you paying attention, Zanuck?
The what?
Are you paying attention? If the sky was a vacuum, a massive space that the gas could fill because it expands in all directions, regardless of your fundy little equivocation with weight, which it isn't, because it's producing pressure, the force over an area. And when asked what the area is, given that the gas is also expanding upwards, you say there is no area. Well, no, Fundy. That means there is no sky vacuum.
It doesn't need an area to press on.
It does! The force over an area! That is the pressure, Fundy.
The weight down.
Not the weight. You see, he's done it again, ladies and gentlemen. He's squirming like a little bitch. Because all he can do is equivocate with weight. We're not talking weight, Fundy dick. We're talking pressure. The force over the area. Now, that force is going to be created in all directions because that's what gas does. Expands in all directions.
Really?
Now,
So why
it's
does
going to expand into your fundy belief in an infinitely expanding vacuum if there was one.
Maybe we should talk about Coriolis.
I think we should talk about the fact the sky isn't a vacuum.
Hey, it is a vacuum. You measure it.
You don't want to talk about Coriolis, Zanuck. Stop.
0.16 psi at 100,000 feet, and in 10 times that at 150,000 feet. A vacuum, a true vacuum. I mean, a real vacuum that suck the air out of your lungs and make your eyes pop out of your head.
And suck the air off the planet and into the sky vacuum, never to be seen again.
Well, we measure vacuum all the time.
Excuse me? You've just said it would suck the air out of your lungs, suck your eyeballs out of your head, but not suck the gas off the earth?
A baller said the vacuum is a sucking force.
Let me get it straight.
Not a sucking. There's nothing. There's no force in a vacuum.
You just said it would suck the air out of your lungs, your eyeballs out your head, but let me get it straight. It won't suck the gas off the earth.
The pressure does everything. Vacuum.
Pressure, the force over an area. Right, let's back to this. No worries. What's it pressing on at the top?
There's nothing for it to press on.
Then there is no sky vacuum, because it must. It absolutely must press on something. It's expanding in all directions. And if there was a vacuum, it would expand into it. It would expand into it, Zanuck. I know you need to obfuscate this by talking through the conclusory point. Yeah? If the sky was a vacuum... Now, I know you've got to rumpus this point. It's your only defence. If the sky was a vacuum, then the gas which is expanding in all directions would fill that space.
No, it won't.
Yeah, it will. It's called the second law of thermodynamics. It's called entropy.
No, it's not called entropy.
Yeah, it is. It's called entropy. The gas would fill the space.
Wait a minute. Have him demonstrate how gas will not do that.
You're confused with entropy. So is quantum eraser that the sun is a great entropy generator. No, entropy, the sun goes down.
Paul's asking you to answer a housekeeping question. Paul's asking you to answer a housekeeping, Zanuck.
What's the units of entropy, quantum eraser? What's the unit? Give me a ratio with the units of entropy.
Wait. Zanuck, really? The sun decreases entropy?
No, he's using that to get away from the ass beating. No. Paul's asked him to answer a housekeeping question.
Silent. We can measure pressure with the barometer, right?
Don't wriggle.
You know, I've talked about that.
Don't wriggle. Let Paul ask you the question again. Go ahead, Paul.
We can measure.
Don't wriggle. Don't squirm a little bit. Don't squirm. Don't constantly obfuscate the question you're being asked. Paul's going to ask you a question. I know it's painful, Zanuck, and it must be obfuscated. And this, me telling you that it must be obfuscated, must also be obfuscated. So you've got a perpetual position where everything must be obfuscated and you must talk through everything. I'm telling you, don't. It's just us all taking our trousers down and taking a little poo on your religion. Paul's about to do it. Go ahead, Paul.
Can you demonstrate this, Zanuck, in a laboratory environment? Can you demonstrate this?
Of course.
And also, do you know the mole value of the atmosphere up there? You know the mole value?
The mole value of the atmosphere? Up where? Can you be a little more vague? You want a mole value?
Well, you're saying there's less and less gas up there, so that means you must know the value of the sky vacuum, so to speak. So what's the mole value of it?
Do you know what a mole is?
Well, how much? Okay, I'll ask a different question. How much of the gas is up there?
You use the word mole. I'm asking if you know what the word mole means.
It doesn't matter. Well, you answer it and you tell me what's up there.
Well, I'll tell you what the mole. A mole means 6.07 sextillion of anything.
Wrong.
I can have a mole of both.
Wrong. Got that wrong too. Wrong. Clown.
6.07 sextillion of anything. I can have a mole of boats.
Wrong.
I can have a mole of racers.
Wrong.
Didn't this recently change? So his number's correct for, is it Ceph carbon 4? But it's changed, correct?
Yeah, it's changed. It's that number, Avogadro's number of elementary entities.
Right. But they've changed the standardization, basically, haven't they, in the last 12 months.
Yes.
But it's definitely not the value. I don't know the value off the top of my head, and I'm going to write it down, but it's not that value for anything. That's complete nonsense.
I'm giving you the value. I'm doing the hard work for you.
No, you're.
Well, wait a minute. Let me get back in here just a second. See, to say that there's a vacuum up there, or what you call a vacuum, you would have to prove that there's less gas up there. Well, I was saying earlier that mass over ma can account for differential pressure, because if you have the mass of the particle hitting something, then the force applied to that is going to be reduced. And also the temperature is also going to reduce the acceleration of that particle. So differential pressure can account for that lack of pressure up there, or that force over ma can account for it. My question is, you're going to have to prove that there's less gas up there. How do you prove that?
That's why there's less pressure. Because there's
I
less
just said
gas.
Force over ma can account for that, for the differential pressure.
What do you mean by force over ma?
Mass over acceleration. If you
Mass
have less,
over acceleration is what?
Right.
What is mass over acceleration equal to?
the force.
No.
Force
No.
over ma.
No. Force is not equal to mass over acceleration. Why can't you guys get these
Really?
equations correct?
Matt?
Yes.
Okay, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hang on.
I'm trying to help you, and you keep on blasting me for talking over you and all this other accusations. And I'm just trying to help you understand some basics. And that one is an error. And again, you guys can't get a moles defined. You can't get force defined. You can't get pressure defined.
Yeah, right. You're baloney, man.
Can't get
This is
anything
baloney.
defined. Can't get what?
You guys can't do this. You don't know what the hell you're talking. You're talking out your ass. Everything you say. Right?
You tell me I'm wrong about a mole. You correct me
You're
if
a
I'm
clown.
wrong. That's your job.
You
Correct me. Go
are
ahead.
a clown, sir.
Go.
Period.
John, go
End
ahead.
of story.
Correct me. A mole is 6.076 trillion of anything. Go. You said I'm wrong. Go ahead. Back it up for the whole.
We just
I already did, you clown.
Just discussed it literally 2 minutes ago. John and I just discussed it and how you were wrong.
You can't be, because you're always lying.
We just literally discussed it. It was recorded and broadcast live to an audience of about 120 people.
I'm not wrong. Can you tell me why I'm wrong?
We did about 2 minutes ago.
I didn't hear it. He's wrong.
Well, try shutting up when other people talk. You see, that's the only disadvantage to continually rumpusing people. People will say things and just ignore the fact that you can't shut up for more than about 25 seconds. And they will continue to talk regardless of the fact that you talking immediately means you're not listening to a word anybody said. Now, I realise that that's half the point, so that you don't have to answer any question that's asked. Because if you've talked through it, it seems like you haven't been asked. That's half the point of you rumpusing.
There, that's 30 seconds. Go ahead, Paul. Let's get through.
I have me asked one simple question. If I have a tennis ball and I have a baseball, and they're both accelerating at the same rate, which will apply more force to the wall, the tennis ball or the baseball?
They're both accelerating at the same. That's not enough information. Give me a velocity and I'll do.
Pick a velocity. You pick one. Pick one. Doesn't matter. You can pick the velocity. You can pick the weight.
If they're the same,
Obviously,
if they
the two weights are
hit the
different.
wall, if
You
they
tell
hit the
me.
wall at the same velocity, the baseball will have.
You need him
The
to give you a
baseball-
velocity. They're
Go
both
ahead.
moving at 10 meters per second. Both of them. Same velocity. There you go.
Same velocity, the baseball has more kinetic energy. It'll have more.
So, which has more weight? A hydrogen atom or an oxygen molecule?
Oxygen.
Okay, if an oxygen molecule and a hydrogen molecule, the velocity is the same, what is the force?
What is the? I have to know the velocity to get.
Okay, the kinetic energy of typical molecules could be anywhere from 1,200 kilometers per second.
Hold on. I'd have to know the rate of deceleration to give you a force.
Rate of deceleration? Is that what you
Because
said?
you don't have a force by a velocity. Velocities don't give you a force.
Force is equal to mass over acceleration.
No, it's not. You got it wrong again.
Times acceleration. I'm sorry, times acceleration. My bad.
Okay. All right.
Force
No
is equal to mass times acceleration. I'm sorry.
Correct.
Okay.
So if you're
average speed of a particle is 1,200 kilometers per second.
Hold on, you gave me a velocity, not acceleration. So if you gave me acceleration, then we could tell you for that mass what the force is. Correct. But you're giving me a velocity, and that doesn't give you acceleration. I mean, it doesn't give you force.
All I'm saying is the mass of the particle is different, but the acceleration is the same. The heavier molecule
Different or the
will
same?
have more force.
What is what he's saying? I'm sorry, Paul. I'm confused what you're trying to ask me.
It's real simple. I'm just saying. I mean, I don't know how much more I can say it. I mean, if I'm misunderstanding, I'm sorry. But
No, I know. I have a feeling what you're trying to say, but you're just not. You're not giving enough information to go on. What's
if there's less, okay, I'll say it simply. If there's hydrogen and helium at the higher upper atmosphere, they're going to have less kinetic energy on your barometer than if you're at lower altitudes, which have heavier gases. So you're going to have more kinetic energy. So that can account for the differential pressure. You can have the same amount of hydrogen at the higher levels as you have down here, but because the kinetic energy is going to be reduced, you're going to have lower pressure. That's my argument. And I think force over ma is what I'm trying to drive at. Just like the tennis ball and
force
the
equals
baseball.
ma. Force equals ma, not force over ma.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, force times
okay.
ma. Force equals ma. Yeah, whatever.
So we know the mixture of gases from surface level to about 100 kilometers is relatively constant. That means there's the equal mixture of oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, all the lighter molecules. You don't get into ionized gases and things like O and N until you get to the very, very high atmosphere levels. So let's just stay at 100 kilometers and lower. What are you saying about this mixture of gas that is called our atmosphere at the 100 up to the 100 kilometer level? They're mixed and they move around. And yes, the temperature will determine how fast these molecules will oscillate and vibrate and run into each other and run into other things, because they all have mass and they all have kinetic energy. And that kinetic energy causes the pressure. It also causes temperature.
Right, which increases acceleration, right, which increases the force.
Which causes.
Okay, and all gases have pressure, correct?
Force.
All gases have pressure, correct, Zanik?
Very good, Silent. Yes.
And how do you calculate it? What's the mathematics?
Gases do not have.
How do you calculate it?
You don't have to have pressure.
What's the calculation?
Pardon me?
What's the calculation? How do you calculate it? That pressure that all gases have.
You measure it.
You know, how do you calculate it? What's the calculation?
Force per unit area.
Area? And gases are expanding in all directions, aren't they?
They can be. If they don't have a force acting on them, they will, for sure, yes.
All right, so in the case of our atmosphere...
Space,
okay, in the case of our atmosphere... In the case of our atmosphere, what force is acting on those gases, Anik?
The weight of the molecules of air.
Weight? They're expanding in all directions.
Not if they have a weight. Not if they have a weight.
Sorry, if they have a weight. They do have a weight, but they're still... Sorry, they do have a weight, but they absolutely fundamentally are... Just, sorry, Zanik, can you stop interrupting my rebuttal, please? Again, this is another one of those times. I'm slowly undoing my belt, pulling down my trousers, then my pants, then I'm going to do a little poo on your assertion. Okay? So you say not if they've got weight. No, that's wrong. They're still expanding in all directions, regardless of the qualification with weight. So they're still expanding in all directions, regardless of you using their weight to describe how they behave. Because they still expand in all directions, fundamentally. Don't they, Zanik?
Well, that's a contradiction. They can't expand in all directions if they have weight.
They do expand in all directions, fundamentally, by their nature. That's what gas does.
Have you ever seen carbon dioxide?
Sorry, we're not getting past this, Zanik. Let's not go on a little journey. Sorry, I'm saying they are expanding in all directions. You're saying they're not if they have weight. Now, all gases might have weight, but they are still fundamentally expanding in all directions to fill the container that they're in. That's gas law. That's what they do. Now, you're saying they don't because they've got weight. Well, that's not a demonstration or any sort of reasoning or logic for why they wouldn't behave as they do behave, which is to expand in all directions. That's a fact. It's not defined by you describing them with their weight. Okay? Now, force, that's another matter, but you haven't told us about force. You've just decided to give them weight, which doesn't make any difference to them expanding in all directions. So we're not getting anywhere, Zanik. They're still expanding in all directions, mate. And that's pressure, which we've already got to. And the pressure mathematics has an area, doesn't it? You see, it's my conclusion. Back to on track, so it's rumpusing time from Zanik. Rather than me getting him back on track to the point where pressure, the effect of it expanding in all directions and pressing on things, like he just described, has a mathematical formula for calculating how much pressure. And it's based on having an area. Now, when we get to the area that it presses on in the upward direction towards the sky, he starts talking about weight, which doesn't defy gas law, doesn't stop gas expanding in all directions, and it certainly doesn't give him an area to stop the gas expanding into his idea that there's a vacuum up there, which there absolutely isn't, because the gas would be filling it if there's no area to press on.
Hey, Zanik, can you show me where, after you remove the air from the vacuum chamber, where water will pull because of its weight at the bottom of the vacuum chamber? Can you show that to me? That'd be great.
That's what all gas particles will. They'll go down in a vacuum.
That's incorrect. That's absolutely fundamentally wrong. The gas will fill the vacuum, and it won't be a vacuum anymore. If there's any gas in there, it will equally distribute throughout the vacuum chamber.
What's your question again, Paul? In a vacuum, water does what?
Why does it pool at the bottom?
Can you demonstrate in a vacuum chamber how, when you remove the air, and you can use water because it's a good one, how it will pull back down at the bottom of the vacuum chamber? Can you demonstrate that for me, please?
Yeah, when you put water in a vacuum, it starts to boil. And as
boil? What, turn into a gas and fill the container in all directions, expanding to fill the container, not pooling at the bottom with its weight then, Zanik, like Paul's trying to make you point out with your own words. It's not pooling at the bottom then, it's expanding in all directions, boiling and filling the chamber.
You can see it. You can see carbon dioxide.
Just a yes or no. Does that water, A, as you assert, with its weight, because it does have weight, doesn't it? Yeah, it does have weight, yeah. Does it go to the bottom because of its weight, fucktard? Or does it expand to fill the container?
No, it goes to the bottom because of its weight.
Oh, you fucking retard. No, it does not. You absolute buffoon. You think this is funny? This is the undoing of your argument. You're saying the weight makes it pool at the bottom. No, it fundamentally does not do that, as I've pointed out to you about 6 times. The gas is expanding in all directions. You giving it weight doesn't suddenly mean that, in Paul's example, the water sits at the bottom of the vacuum chamber. It doesn't! You stupid idiot!
Go ahead.
Yeah, you're a stupid idiot. The gas is expanding in all directions. You attributing weight to it, unless you use the word gravity, which of course we'd periodically all take off our belts and trousers and pants and curl one out on that crap as well. Yeah? So no force. Giving it a weight doesn't solve the problem. It's still expanding in all directions. And your assertion that the sky is a vacuum is undone by gas law.
Yes.
Hello?
Yep,
that's right. Yep, that's your only response. Yes, that's right. The sky is not a vacuum, ladies and gentlemen. It cannot be a vacuum by nature of gas law. Gas wants to expand in all directions. To have pressure, which we absolutely do, it needs to press on something. And they're saying it's not got anything to press on in our religious belief of a sky vacuum, where NASA say they go. Then it would disperse, the gas that is, into that space. Because that's what gas does.
That's
Fills
a vacuum,
the volume.
right? That's a quarter of PSI. That's all you have out of a vacuum cleaner. Nothing.
Sorry, was it just me, or did Professor Dave claim that flat earthers didn't understand what vacuum and vacuum cleaner were, the difference between the two? Wasn't that levelled at us as flat earthers by Professor Dave?
Yep.
So, Professor Dave, I think you need to address your own side of merry idiots like Zanik here, who doesn't seem to appreciate the difference between a 10 to the minus 17 torr claim to be sky vacuum and a vacuum cleaner. Hello?
And that somehow or another, a vacuum will suck your eyes out of your socket, but it won't suck the air out of the atmosphere.
What's that, Paul? So say, or is that chocolate? What's that? You said that air will suck the eyes out of your head. What?
That's what you said.
Isn't that what you?
Oh, I was being tongue in cheek about that. Yeah, if there's differential pressure, the inside pressure of your body will be pushing the eyes out of your head.
Well,
no
I'm going to tell the ballers
so differential pressure.
Oh God.
Differential pressure will take the eyes out of my socket, but it won't pull the air away from the earth.
Correct.
That's nonsense. That's absolute nonsense. If the sky was a vacuum, the gas, which is trying to expand in all directions, would fill that space instantaneously. No sky vacuum. That's what debunks it. Gas law.
The gas law, it works for a container. The container you're talking about, that may be true, where you change the volume and the pressure go up, you change the temperature, the pressure go up or down. That's a different set of conditions than...
That's Boyle's law. Yeah, that's not just gas law, that's Boyle's law specifically.
And Boyle's law as well.
Yeah, well, we're not talking about Boyle's law, are we?
Are you going to tell us again, Zanuck, how the earth is mostly a closed system?
Pressing down on itself all the way down
closed,
to the surface.
Or is it...
He's just reverted to circle jerk. Pressing down, he says. He's ignoring, head in the sand time from Zanuck, the fact that gas expands in all directions. He just has to circle jerk back to, it's pressing down, there's stuff above it, the vacuum presses down on it from the top. No, it doesn't. That's also been undone here. But it seems this circle jerking asshole just has to parrot off the nonsense again.
So Nathan, it doesn't go in all directions. It goes less.
Yeah, it fucking does. That's what gas does. It expands in all directions. Don't start your sentence with gas does not expand in all directions. Yes, it does. You are retarded. Yes, it does. You are wrong. You are stupid.
Go ahead.
You are stupid. Gas absolutely does expand in all directions. You were held over a barrel by Paul only 3 minutes earlier, asking if the weight of the water would stay at the bottom of the vacuum, and it does not. It would evaporate and expand in all directions to fill the available volume.
Can I ask you a question on that, Nathan? Can I ask you a question on that?
So in extreme vacuums, Nathan, which I work in, go ahead.
Sorry, did you just start that statement with, in extreme vacuums which I work in?
Go ahead, I can hear you silent.
I heard you say, in extreme vacuums which I work in. That was your opener.
In my field, yes.
Your field is working in...
I fly. It doesn't mean I'm a pilot. I mean, I'm a pilot. That doesn't mean that's what my living is.
Sorry.
That's what my profession is.
What do you claim to fly?
Fly
The shuttle?
vacuums?
What do you fly? The ISS?
Wow. No.
Not wow, you've said you work in extreme vacuums. Then you said you fly. Now, unless your next breath is I pilot Thunderbird fucking ISS, then what is the point of you saying you work in extreme vacuums if you say you fly in the next breath?
Can
I do a lot of things. I race cars.
This is nonsense. So you don't work in extreme vacuums, then you are a liar.
Hold on.
So you are a liar. Do you mean you work with extreme Dyson vacuum cleaners?
I work with vacuums. I work with the construction of integrated circuits, and in these processes called chemical vapor deposition or particle vapor deposition, we actually have extreme vacuums down to 10 to the minus 10. And in these vacuums, they have reasons where they source and how they actually create the vacuum. So these are something I actually work with, so I kind of have a little bit of knowledge. Not a lot. I'm not an expert, but I do have a little bit of knowledge.
But hold on,
What kind of plane do you fly, Zanuck? Is it a prop or a jet?
A prop.
So you fly in the vacuum with a prop?
You don't fly in a vacuum with a prop. You can't fly in a vacuum with a prop.
You just said you did.
You can't fly in a vacuum with a prop.
Hang on.
There's a guy in Discord waiting to ask something.
He's got a prop plane, which means a
I
propeller.
never said I fly in a vacuum. Where did you get that?
You did.
Go ahead.
The guy in Discord who's been waiting for ages. Go ahead.
Yes, go ahead.
Flashing, but no sounds coming out.
Yes.
Didn't you say you
Correct.
work in
Yes,
vacuums
they will.
and you have experience
Yes, they
and
will.
that's your expertise?
Going on.
And
We
then
can't
you
hear the guy who's
equated that
talking
to
in
blind
Discord.
pressure.
Hold on. We just hear Zanik in
Silent.
Discord.
There'll be a differential pressure from top to bottom. Yes, you're right.
Can't
You
hear
have
half
1,000 psi scuba
Zanik,
tank. That's a
Zanik, for
one-story
crying out
tall.
bloody loud, will you shut up? We cannot hear him speak. For some
was
reason,
answering his
you can
question.
hear him, and I can only hear you, continually interrupting me, of course. Dude, we can't hear you. Maybe drop and come back in.
Yep. I can hear you.
No, Zanik, who gives a shit what you can hear? You're not producing the show. We can't hear you, dude. Maybe drop and come back.
Okay, Nathan, what he's trying to say is if there's a huge tank that's 1 story tall, will there be a differential pressure from top to bottom if it's under pressure, like 1,000 psi or something? And I said, yes, there would be a slight differential pressure from the bottom to the top of that tank due to the weight.
Yeah, and the tank's got an area. So is the tank equivalent to Earth? What's the equivalent to the top of that tank in your Earth with a vacuum outside of it? What's the equivalent to the top of that tank? What's the area at the top that I asked you about? You see, I'm asking you about the area at the top and you keep obfuscating it, and now you've started talking before I concluded my question. So you're now asking me about a tank, something with a surface area to give you that pressure now, and I'm asking you how that's equivalent to Earth. What's the lid between us and the sky vacuum to give you the pressure that you'd get from that tank?
Well, the tank has been pressurized. So
Yeah, what about Earth?
No, silent.
Sorry, Earth is definitely experiencing pressure, and you're saying because it's a tank it can be pressurized, but Earth is pressurized. Earth is pressurized now, isn't it, Zanik?
I don't know what you're asking.
Earth is pressurized. And I'm saying if you're going to ask me questions about this lid, and I'm primarily concerned with the fact that we are also definitely pressurized, what's the lid in your rhetoric of a sky vacuum that's comparable to this tank you're asking me questions about?
In physics, to have pressure, you need either a container or...
Yeah, you need a container. And you've given me an example with a container. Now I want to know what's containing the pressure on your reification of a sphere in a vacuum.
Or a force.
Sorry, or a force? What force? All you've done when this came around last time, second circle jerk around the same roundabout, right, was tell me that it's got a weight. Yeah, that doesn't defy gas law and doesn't stop it expanding in all directions. And you won't use the word gravity, because you know what happens? I've got my belt ready.
I don't need to use any other word. Weight.
Weight? Yeah, okay, it's got weight. Does that mean it stops expanding in all directions? Does it mean that you get a pool of water at the bottom of a vacuum chamber? No, it's still following gas law.
Nathan,
Can I ask him a different
when
question?
you say gas expands in all directions, is this a singular gas on its own, or does it matter that there's other gas in the surrounding area?
Makes sod all difference.
Gas.
Well,
Gas.
Hey, clown show. Hey, clown show squatting Thunder Bear. Why don't you come off
That's
mute,
what I
you
know
friggin'
you
clown,
is-
that I just exposed you,
I work
dumbass, on live stream. Shut up. Squatting Thunder Bear, come off
The hell?
mute.
Zanik, can you go on
Right.
mute? Because all we can hear is you clattering.
Can I just answer, please, Nathan?
Answer what? It
I
makes
work
no
with
difference.
chemicals, yeah.
It makes no
And if I
difference.
mix the wrong two chemicals together, it creates a gas which is actually quite deadly to humans, yeah. So we wear masks, yeah. But that gas, if we mix that chemicals together, does not expand in all directions. It will fall to the floor.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So what? So you're saying
Yeah.
that as I generally walk
Because
around, I see layers
because
of...
the gas.
Sorry, I'm asking
Because
a
the gas
supplementary
is
question.
heavier than the atmosphere in the room. So the gas will not expand in all directions.
Oh, really?
Can I ask him a question, Nathan, real quick before you...
Jesus
Oh my
Christ.
God.
Fuck's sake. So you're saying you can show me a little bundle of gas not dissipating. Did you hear my question? I get that effect quite a lot. I ask a question and there's a long protracted silence afterwards. So you can show me this little bunch of gas just staying in a bunch, not dissipating, not following the second law of thermodynamics, defying entropy. Please can you show me this, sir?
What is entropy?
I think for health and
Oh,
safety,
it's
you
Zanuck to the
understand
rescue. Let's
that
just
I'm
put Zanuck
not-
on mute because he needs to rescue his little mate, doesn't he? Sorry, sir. Please can you show me this gas in a little section without containment, not following the law of thermodynamics that would dictate that it would dissipate? Do you want to show me that, please? Your bullshit, that is, that you've just asserted.
Well, I never said the gas would not dissipate. Yeah, I said
Yeah,
it
you
would
did.
not expand in all directions.
What the fuck do you think
That's what the hell
dissipate
that
means?
means, man.
You utter retard. What do you think dissipate means?
Press upon.
Sorry, what the hell do you think dissipate means?
Wow.
What do you think dissipate means? Hello, Fundy retard. What does dissipate mean?
Can I clear something up, Nathan? Maybe it'll help him as well. Real simply.
Just hold on a second, Paul.
What does dissipate mean? Why is this protracted silence happening over and over again? Oi, idiot that's told me I'm wrong, that's told me gas can survive without containment, that the law of thermodynamics doesn't apply. You! What does dissipate mean? Are you caught in the headlights, Fundy? Were you expecting a win with this shite? Were you not expecting me to shout the same question 4 times and you be in protracted silences like a deer in the headlights? Was this not what you were expecting, Fundy? Hello? Show me this gas pressure without a container. Show me this gas not dissipating.
The Earth's atmosphere is gas pressure without a container.
Oh, really? Where did you get the gas pressure from in the first place? Yet another protracted silence.
Okay, can you
Sorry,
define
you're
gas
yet
pressure?
to show me. You're yet to give me your cowbell, sir.
Come from on a flat Earth, then.
Sorry, you're yet to give me your cowbell for
You
your
know
crap
how the
assertion
Earth-
that violates a law of nature. I'd like to see this gas not dissipating that you've talked about. You said you worked with gas and had to wear masks. You gave an example of it not dissipating.
No, I never said that. I never said I worked.
So it does expand and fill the volume. The law of thermodynamics does apply. Hello?
I
So it
said
does
I
dissipate.
work with chemicals,
Sorry,
not
so-
gas.
Sorry, gas chemicals.
And if you mix the two wrong chemicals together, it will create a gas.
That's fascinating. And will that gas stay magically
So
in
for
one
health and
particular...
safety reasons, at work, we do not mix those two chemicals together. Yeah?
That's really nice. That's so interesting. And I often don't eat Hawaiian pizza. Like, I give a shit. Your claim is that it won't fill the available volume and it won't dissipate. I'd like to see that, which you have claimed.
So you're claiming that...
I'm not claiming anything, you stupid retard. You are claiming that you don't need gas to have containment, that it will not dissipate, that your magical gases that should not be mixed won't dissipate. They won't expand in all directions. That is your claim.
Right, so you're telling me that if I mix two small amounts of this chemical together, which will create a very small amount of gas, that small amount of gas would expand and fill the whole entire room.
Yeah. Eventually, it will dissipate
Right.
evenly into the container that it's available to contain it. What is your issue?
I think you need to put the crack pipe down.
Are you trying to
yeah?
are you trying
You
to
may not
say
get
that
so
that
triggered
small
now.
little gas will sit in a ball, like on the floor somewhere? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, that's essentially
I
what
never
he's
said
saying.
it would sit in a
He's
ball.
saying it won't dissipate.
So what are you saying then?
You're just now putting words in my mouth the same way Nathan
What are
does.
you saying?
Yeah?
Clarify what you're saying.
What I'm saying is the gas does not completely fill the room and doesn't expand in all directions.
What will it do?
It will not expand if it has something else to press upon.
Is it pressing upon the other gas in the room? Just curious.
If it's pressing against the other gas in the room, then it's not going to expand, is it?
You are a freaking clown. Where did you get your wait a second. Where'd you get your chemistry degree, son? Tuco Community College in Tobago? You're a friggin' clown. What's your name?
Highlander.
Yeah, that knucklehead.
Well, can I make a point? The point I was trying to make.
Paul.
Now,
Sorry to bite your head off.
A vacuum. I'm sorry. A vacuum is space entirely void of matter. Now, like air conditioning systems can have high pressure and low pressure, but they have matter in them. So we're talking about, can you show where this gas will not go into it, something that's void of matter? Right now, I think I've tried to demonstrate that you can have matter up there, but have less pressure. So they got to show that there's no matter up there. Sorry, Lily decides to say something.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, hello. Whoever's saying hello.
What do you want to get? Oh, I've just had Vegas.
Was my point made? I don't know if you heard it.
Just
what's happening now then?
Anthony, you're off mute. We can hear your phone conversation.
Did my point get made or did it get lost?
A little bit lost at the end.
I don't even think this guy knows his point, let alone yours.
You can still have low pressure.
He still hasn't clarified what his gas that he would mix and it won't expand in volume would do. It's just it mix it and it just going to sit there or what? Like we need clarification on what this gas is going to do. If it's not going to expand and fill the volume, can you clarify that, sir?
Well, my point. Oh, I'm sorry. My point.
Highlander, you just changed the density of the gas of the chemicals, so now they're heavier than the air. So it's just like butane. Eventually, it will disperse.
Of course, it will.
Well, apparently not to this guy.
Yeah, that's his point. That it won't.
Yeah, he's a chemist.
Well, the question I have though, if you put that gas in a vacuum chamber, would it fill the space? That's the question. Would it, or would it pool at the bottom?
Well, he contradicted himself because he said it would not expand, but it would dissipate. So somebody's confused. Hello, Mr. Highlander. You there?
If it's the only gas and you release it to a vacuum, yes, it will expand and fill the whole space, yes.
Oh, right. Well, then that categorically debunks any notion that the sky is a vacuum by your own definition, because the gas would fill the space. And with that, I'll say, if you are watching this on the Nathan Oakley 1980 premiering stream, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. However, if you're watching this live on Nathan Oakley, there will be no further communications, no more chat. This is the end of the road for you. But a massive, huge, enormous thank you to all of you who did tune in. Hopefully smash the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, and all that good stuff. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. Also, a massive thank you to all of today's debating panel for making this live show possible. As I say, stay tuned if you're watching on Nathan Oakley 1980. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
We could say that there's low pressure up there. We can agree with them. They've got to say that there's less matter up there. That's going to have to be their argument now. Show us there's less matter up there.
I want to know, right? What I want to know is why you're comparing a single gas in a chamber next to a vacuum with the complicated system of the Earth's atmosphere. You can't compare the two; they're not comparable.
What are you presupposing there, my friend?
Oh my God! Go back to Romper Room, for crying out loud! You're a clown.
You came on at the beginning and said it bundles in a pile on the floor, and you left the show saying that it expands everywhere. You're the one who had two positions on one topic.
No, you asked if a single gas next to a vacuum would expand and fill the space.
Yeah, it would. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah it would. Yeah.
right. I agree. Yeah.
Well, that's the end of your sky vacuum religion then,
Yeah.
if that's the position you hold, because we do have gas, and it does expand in all directions. That's its nature. And if it's next to a vacuum, according to you, it would fill the vacuum.
So what would happen if there's more than one gas?
It would still fill the vacuum.
The same friggin' thing.
When you say single gas, what do you mean by single gas? What do you mean by
It doesn't
that?
make any difference. If single gas, 10 million gases, they'd still expand in all directions into the vacuum if it's a lower pressure system. They'd want to fill that space available to it. That's what gas does.
I still don't get why you are comparing a man-made container with pressurized gas next to a man-made vacuum.
What man-made vacuum?
Highlander,
You can't have that situation.
Can we create a vacuum without a container?
Actually, real quick, before I've just thought of this. I'm sorry, I have to do this. Sorry.
All right.
A vacuum says a space entirely void of matter. It's not a low pressure system. It's completely devoid of matter. You can have a low pressure system that has matter in it. That's what I've been trying to argue. So it's the state of the matter that can reduce the pressure. But the argument is the gas will fill the available space of a voided vacuum. That's the argument. That's why we got to change it. Not a low pressure system. I think that's different.
It doesn't matter. He agreed with us at the end, and now he's going back on what he agreed on.
Very difficult for them. You know, they're holding two different positions, and while they accept that gas does expand in all directions, whenever we say, well, that would happen in your sky vacuum, they say, no, it's not fair. Don't compare my religion to reality.
What I wanted to know is, he thought if we can create some type of a vacuum without a container.
That's a good point too, Chocolate. However, the cognitive dissonance is so severe in this person that they come out saying the gas bundle's on the floor and then later says, no, it disperses into all the available area. Holding two positions.
I mean, I think the example of gas pressure, when you put water in a vacuum chamber and you remove all the substance, you are reducing the pressure, but you're also removing all the substance. It starts to boil. That to me is more powerful than saying it's low pressure system, because I can have a low pressure system in my air conditioning system, high pressure and low pressure in the same system. So.
You give good sound arguments, Paul. So does everyone else. The problem is they look at a non-rotating Earth and say it's a ball, and we say otherwise, and they have cognitive dissonance. And no matter what we show them, until they're willing to be honest with themselves, they're just going to be stuck there.
Yeah, that's why this is not really for them. This is for the people that are listening, people that are smart enough to get this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
they're just a tool that we use to expose the nonsensical, magical spinning ball in a vacuum. That's what that is.
Yeah, precisely.
Where's that dumbass squatting Thunder Bear? Boy, he sure had a lot of talking he was doing in live chat or in the live live stream chat, but he's in this room, but he's surely not talking now. Friggin' clown.
Was on 7.
Hey, how about them definitions of gas and gas pressure in containers? How'd you like them? You asked for definitions. I gave you fucking 25. How's that? Clown.
You talking to Squatting
Go back
Thunder?
to picking up cans alongside of the road. Supervise.
Come off mute, Squatting Thunder. Share your pain.
Yeah, he's just like all the rest of the coward, yellow spine globetards, right?
Tell us how you really feel.
They all come off mute when Nathan leaves.
He still ain't coming off mute. I should kick his ass out of here just for general purpose.
Somebody, hold on. Is Discord not working again? Can someone in Discord say something?
Say again?
Checking that Discord's not failed again. It's the second time in this show if it has.
Really?
It hasn't failed. Just Zanuck is on mute.
That's a rare sighting.
I thought Cork was trying to say something.
I did. Hold on a second. I didn't put him on mute this time. Who did it?
I did.
Nathan.
I was trying to save the other guy.
Squatting Thunder. Hold on, Anthony. Squatting Thunder. Share your pain, you crayon munching retard. Come on, big talker. You're big typer. Come on. Come on. Come out, wherever you are.
Don't want to play.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Keyboard warrior, clearly.
Yeah, there's tons of them. Yeah. All right. Sorry, Anthony, you were saying something. Go ahead.
No, it's all right. I'll be back in a second. Feeding dog.
Dog.
There's definitely no sound coming from Discord. I can't hear anyone. There's several people off mute, and I can't unless they just come off mute and not said anything.
Hold on, I'm gonna go in there.
Jumping into the fire. You know what's interesting is when flat.
Hold on a second, 10th. Hold on a second, 10th. Hey, Righteous, go ahead and say something.
Yeah, I've just.
I already talked in there. You guys didn't hear me.
No, I'm disconnecting and reconnecting. That's sorted it.
I mean, you ask these guys
there we go.
Simple questions, and they get so angry and hurl so much abuse at people. It's unreal.
What simple question?
Yeah, because you're a pretender clown. That's why.
What was the simple question that we got annoyed at? What was the question?
Well, I don't know what the question was that irritated this guy that's screaming and shouting and calling people crayon munchers. I mean, what reason do you have to call someone a crayon muncher?
Okay, I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. You listening? Is everyone listening?
I'm listening.
I'm going to give you the reason why. See, when somebody is pissing down my back and tell me it's raining and they're being polite, it really doesn't matter. If I turn around, I'm going to rip your pathetic little pecker right off. Are we tracking?
Yeah, still
hey, Nathan, can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Definitely need medication.
No, he doesn't. You just need to
Maybe
have a little bit of a brain and
course.
understand that when you're pissing down his back, it pisses him off.
I got a question about the pressure gradient.
Shoot.
The one that exists without the container, you mean, in the first place, that allows it to exist?
Due to a force, yes.
No, I'm not questioning against that. I'm just saying the reason why we have pressure is because oxygen, which rests at basically ground level and up to how many ever feet it is.
Full of shit. You're full of shit.
It's the weight of the actual
You're full of
air,
shit.
like the mass of the air is
Oxygen
what presses
is a gas.
on us.
A
right?
gas moves freely and randomly at high speeds. You're full of shit right off the bat. So you can just stop.
No, I'm asking you, why does the oxygen is pressing upon us? The weight of the gas is why we have pressure on our shoulders, right?
You said oxygen lays at the ground level. That's what you said. You're a moron. That's it.
Hey, John, what's up with you, man? You calling everybody morons when they're asking questions. What's up with you today?
You're not asking questions, are you? You think that you guys have all the answers, but you have none of the evidence, and that's the bit that's missing that we want to see.
Well, we've given you evidence. The point, the CGI and it's fake, or
hold on.
Whatever.
Hold on.
I'm trying to.
He said he's giving us evidence.
Yes.
So, what evidence have you given us?
No, I'm asking a question to you guys about like we breathe oxygen at our altitude, right? which is basically from sea level up to how many feet before oxygen starts to thin out because of its density and weight, right? Because helium will
mix the same mixture all the way up to about 100 kilometers. So you get less of it.
Okay.
The same mixture.
Okay, so what I'm saying is,
No problem. What you're saying is nothing. That's no problem.
Infinity.
Now, are you going to listen to the guy that asked before, why are you calling these guys morons? I'm not just calling them morons. I'm showing how, why they are morons. Then I'm calling them a moron. There's nothing.
Not really. You just they ask something and just say you clown.
Yes, really.
That's not showing nobody
That's
nothing.
exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, that's really not
Just
so
why don't
no,
you guys listen to what's being said? Let the point get concluded, and then address the point that's been made with evidence.
Moronic.
Well, I'll tell you why. Because he said that oxygen was laying down close to the ground, and then he started the monologue. Well, I'm not going to sit here and listen to his monologue, Anthony, when his first statement was wrong.
Wasn't talking to you, the other guys.
That's why.
Let me re-ask the question.
Yeah, well, let me finish what I'm...
John. Why can't the boys that are not
Simmer.
John listen to what John says, let him finish, and then
All
respond to John's points with evidence to show that John is wrong? Why can't you do that?
Sorry, Anthony. He hasn't shown any points at all.
Yeah, the point I was trying to make to support flat Earth was
see,
the light.
He doesn't even understand what's going on. Cork is trying to ask a question supporting the flat Earth notion, and John goes ahead and just call him whatever name.
Right.
And so
that's right.
I don't know.
He said oxygen.
He's making a point that counters the point that you guys are asserting, and there's no retort from that. You just
We're
ignore
saying
what he
that
says. and
pressure
go over
is
him.
caused by the weight of the air. It's pretty.
Pressure is not caused by the weight of the air. Pressure of the gas, which expands in all directions, is the force it exerts on the walls of the container. It's nothing to do with weight. That's wrong. One of those protracted silences.
I think these protracted silences are when they're looking up in the background with help from their friends. I don't know why there would be a protracted silence.
Okay, let's see if Cork can ask his question again, right? But make sure that you have your facts straight. Okay, sir? Go ahead.
Yes. It was a question leading into support of the flat Earth and the gradient is what I'm leading towards. Like if you release the lightest substance you have, it goes. Say, I don't know what gas we're talking. Helium, it's lighter than air. Oxygen, it goes up. It's going to eventually stop till it in its equilibrium until what's under it is a little bit heavier, and what's above it will be lighter, but it will reach a gradient level where it will stop rising.
I can agree with that statement. I don't know if anybody else does.
So the only point I was trying to make is when
incorrect. Gases don't stop. It's incorrect right there. Gases aren't stopping. Some magical gas is just stopping, especially in your
it's going to reach its density.
Shut up. Especially in your fairy tale paradigm, where the thermosphere, when it reaches that high, it's gaining energy, so there's no stopping. Okay?
Where does it go then?
According to your paradigm, it should fill the available volume. That's 3.58 times 10 to the 38 cubic meters.
So you agree there is a gradient of gases, different gases as we go up. If you go up 100 miles,
I'm not concerned about the gradient. Where'd you get gas pressure without the container?
I'm not saying there isn't gas pressure without a container.
You've made a massive jump from the point that he was making, which was the gas will fill all the available space, to a gradient.
Right. So the lighter elements would be at the top, right? And the heavier elements would be at the bottom.
You've missed the point. where does the gas pressure not go to in our real world that we live in?
Okay, Anthony, you know he's a flat earther, right?
I don't know that, but I'm wondering why he's not realizing.
Who cares?
It seems like you guys are arguing just for argument.
That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter.
I
If
think
he's
the
wrong,
guy's
he's
just
wrong.
trying to understand.
Yeah. That's fine. He can ask questions, but he made a lot of wrong statements.
Well, you've called me a moron 5 times, and I'm trying. You won't even let me finish asking my question.
Well, sir, you said that your first statement. Did you not say that oxygen stays at the surface of the earth? Did you not say that?
I didn't say stays. I said it is within a certain elevation from ground level up to whatever it is, 10,000 feet, is most of the oxygen we breathe, right?
That's not what you said. You know you didn't say that.
Well, that's what I meant. That's what I meant. But you wouldn't let me
say
finish.
that. That's also incorrect.
So the reason why I'm asking this in rhetorical is if there is a globetard listening, is when they bring up this gradient pressures and whatnot, it's simply the mass, the way I see it, it's the mass and densities and weight of gases. The heavier gases will be at the lower elevations to sea level, and then, water, because it's changed state and it's heavier than air. But anyways, if we were to go up as high as we could go up, there's going to be less oxygen. And whatever those lighter gases are that is filling the space will be at the higher elevations. So it's just simply light is up and heavier is lower, like until it reaches this equilibrium. Is that, am I saying this right?
Please answer this question. Who cares what happens with regards to how the pressure gradient works? The question that we want answering is, how do you have the pressure in the first place before we talk about how the gradient works? Can anybody answer that?
Well, we're contained in system.
Hold on. Anthony's correct. So yes, that's first and foremost, that's the main point. That's what Anthony's trying to hammer home. So fundamentally, if you don't recognize that is the winning argument, and you're trying to address a gas pressure gradient straw man, it means you fundamentally haven't understood the argument and its demolition. That's why Anthony's getting, that in first. Yeah. If you want an answer to your assertion, then your premise is flawed, because gas doesn't work like that. It's anisotropic. It's a mixture of gases. Yeah, it's not layered out. It's working in a cycle. All of them are in various cycles, constantly in flux. But it's one big massive mix of gases. And that's true all the way up, even where it gets thinner. It's air getting thinner, not separating out into oxygen and nitrogen. No, it's a mixture of gases.
Okay. Is it the same mixture at 10-foot elevation as it would be at 1,000,000 feet of elevation?
I don't know about 1,000,000 feet, but certainly you go higher up, you might get the air, the anisotropic inhomogeneous mixture of gases that is the air, may get thinner, but it's not separating into its constituent parts and gases as you're asserting, with oxygen at the bottom. That's not how it's working, unfortunately, for your assertion.
Oh, I thought it might make logical sense that you believe gases do have different densities, different weight.
We're not in a static system. We're in a dynamic system.
I understand that. See, I believe what Scripture says. There's a firmament at the very top of the pressure container. If we could go to that very top, what would it still be? Oxygen just spread out, or would it actually be just a lighter gas, the lightest element possible, where it stops at the container?
Nobody knows.
Don't know.
Oh, okay. That's all I was wondering.
Oh, sorry for calling you a moron. I just wanted to correct your first statement, so I apologize.
Yeah, no problem. But you guys do awesome work. I've enjoyed your show for quite a while.
Oh, thank you very much.
Cool, man.
I think Sanic wanted to say something. He's been muted or something.
Couldn't be.
I don't know.
Let's have a look.
Hold
No, he
on.
is muted, so-
Is your firmament, is that solid? What's
We
it
don't
made
know.
of?
No idea. Don't know. It's the
No
sky
idea,
vacuum.
but yeah, it's solid.
So your magic book doesn't tell you what it's made of?
Don't know what the sky
Doesn't
is.
matter.
We don't know.
Doesn't
what the
matter.
sky
It's
is.
not a magic book either. It doesn't matter. It's the necessary
How does
antecedent.
it
It
not
must
matter?
call it
If
a
you're
solid
claiming
container.
there's a firmament up there,
It must
then
be
surely
a
it
solid
matters.
container. A container,
Listen,
physical barrier. It must be.
this is coming from the guy who believes a bundle of gas is on the floor. He hasn't learned his lesson yet.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm just wanting to know
No,
what
you
the firmament is made of.
misunderstood.
I'm just wanting to learn what the firmament is.
It doesn't matter.
Why don't you find out what gas
How
is
does it not
first?
matter?
It doesn't matter.
If I want to
All we
learn
need-
what
it
it is,
must be a
then
container.
surely it matters.
It doesn't matter
You're
what
not-
it's made of, what
making it
color
into a
it is.
He's not listening to you. So you're saying it doesn't matter. He said, why doesn't it matter? You start answering, he continues talking.
Right. Exactly.
So do you want to know, or do you just
What do you
just
mean
wanna
by
talk?
anisotropic as far as the atmosphere goes? What do you
Shut up,
understand?
Janet. We're on to a different subject. We'll get to you in a moment. Shut up.
So
Do you
wanna know why-
understand?
Do you know why it
Do you
doesn't? Do you want to know why it
Go
doesn't matter or not?
Yeah, I want to know why it doesn't matter.
Fine. The clear airwaves. John, go ahead.
Sure. It doesn't matter what it's made of, what color it is, what it smells or tastes like. In order to have gas pressure, you must have a physical barrier, i.e., container. Your little straw man fallacy that you picked up from the retards over at Jose's show it has no cowbell whatsoever. It doesn't matter what it's made of. There must be a container. Thanks.
Whatever it's made out of, it would have to be solid enough so that the gas pressure would be contained within it.
$100%.
Xanax. Sorry about that. Go ahead. Go ahead.
That's it. There's a lot of fundy contemplations about the death of the sky vacuum, I believe.
It happens every day. They'll come back with the same stuff tomorrow. Well, what's your container made of? What's the dome made of? Right? Same old thing every single day. Rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. Xanac, I didn't put you on mute, so this time. So do you have something to add?
Well, not at this time, but thank you for releasing me from the cage.
I did release you, and I didn't put you on mute.
Well, that's
Although
been
you
Nathan.
should be on mute, just for general purpose.
That's not nice.
I know. Well, we're not in the business of nice or not nice. We're in the business of frigging
fully
truth
understand.
or
Accepting.
lies.
Nope. I agree.
We're in that
How
business.
high up is
We're not
the
here to
firmament?
agree or disagree. We're not here to talk about our favorite colors. We're here to establish the nature of our reality and the truth of it all.
Yep. If you want a friend, get a dog.
I got a
How high
dog.
up is a firmament?
Can I ask
What's
the
he
ball side
asking
there a
now?
question, please?
Is that knucklehead asking another question? Where is he?
Go ahead.
Do we have the?
Can I ask the ball side a question there, please?
Go ahead, Brian.
Thank you. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
I can't stay on, so I just asked the question, and I'll have to come back, go on mute again. For all the ball side, we're asserting that gravity is holding down the atmosphere and creating a density within the atmosphere. If you assert gravity, then that means you understand Einstein's theory of relativity. So I'm going to say two words, and I want the ball side to give a detailed explanation of what they mean. Light, time. If you are saying gravity is doing this, then explain light, time. Thank you, Nathan.
What was that word? Lifetime?
Light.
Light.
L-I-G-H-T.
Light.
Yeah.
L-I-G-H-T.
Light, time.
Light.
Explain light, time. Because if you can't explain that, Then you
Light
don't know what
time?
the current
I'm
gravity
sorry, I
is.
can't hear it, but
I think he said light as a light.
Yeah.
light
Yeah.
time?
Lighthtime.
Oh, light time.
Lighthtime. If you can't understand that and give a detailed explanation of that, then you don't have no idea what you're talking about when it comes to the current gravity.
Really? There's
Yeah,
things
so-
called laws and things called theories. And
No.
generally,
Stick to those. Light time.
No, you can have
understand? Do you
have
understand it?
observation.
Do you understand what I mean?
I
If
do
you
understand.
understand the theory of relativity,
So,
you'll understand that.
I'm going to play dumb here, and I don't understand the cause, but I know the effect. I'll stop there.
Yeah, but if you're asserting gravity,
I don't know
as
how
doing
the
something,
engine works, but I
you
can
need to be able
drive.
to have a cause for gravity.
I don't know how to build an engine, but I know I can drive the car. It's the same thing.
Yeah, but
that's not
somebody
the point.
knows how to build an
That's a red
engine.
herring.
What is the point? No, it's not a red herring actually at all.
Well, it is because you're changing
No, it isn't. By definition, it's not a red herring.
Well, whatever it is.
Whatever.
It's not the point.
Anyway,
But
It's not-
here's the problem,
point.
though. Why
This is the
didn't
point
you
I'm
just
making.
answer the question? If you've never heard of
Yeah,
light
why
time,
don't you
why don't
answer
you
the
just
question?
say, I don't know what light time
will be the
is,
first-
and then tell him to, Zanuck, shut up. Right? If you didn't understand what light time is, you've never heard of it, why don't you just be honest and say, I don't know what light time is, explain that. Now, I understand he prefaced it with, if you don't know what it is, you don't know what gravity is. So I get that you might not want to jump into that pit. But come on, just be honest and say, what's light time?
That's the red
Explain
herring.
what you
That's
mean
the
by that.
logical fallacy.
Well, Zanuck, if you don't
Do you know
understand
what,
I
do you know
mean
what
when I
light
say-
time is?
Sorry, Shotgun.
Zanuck?
If you don't understand what I mean when I say light time, then you can't assert gravity. Because that means you have no idea what the theory of relativity is.
Light time.
I'll stand by what I
time
said.
it
I
takes for
understand
light to travel
Hold on.
between the 2
your
points.
gravity,
Hold
but
on,
I
hold
don't
on.
have to claim.
Hold on, everyone, shut up. I want to hear the other guy.
Zanuck or Highlander?
Hold on,
Right, I'm trying
Highlander.
to answer.
Zanuck's obfuscated. Go ahead, Highlander.
Light time. The light time is the time it takes for light to travel between 2 points.
Oh, you got a big problem there.
Yeah.
That's
You
variable.
got. Hold on a second. He's got a big problem with that. Does anyone know the problem with that?
No, what's the problem?
How light is measured in speed?
Yeah, the light
travels at different speed.
Hold on
No.
a second. I'm going to explain. Hold on. Hold your panties on. According to Einstein, if you're going to measure the speed of light, right, you need 2 clocks. Correct? Right? Everyone following up to this point? You need 2 clocks, right? You need a start point and an end point. Distance equals rate times time, right? You can fiddle around with that. The problem is, according to Einstein, is as soon as you move either clock A or clock B, it is desynchronized, according to Einstein. Ergo, in order to synchronize it, what do you need? You need the one-way speed of light. But that's what you're trying to find in the first place. So it's all a circle jerking, begging the question fallacy convention. Thanks.
Hopefully that answers your question, Brian.
Yes, look, I knew QE would know all about that. I mean, it's just that the ballers are asserting gravity, yet they don't have any idea what the current gravity explanation is. They're still calling it a force. They have no idea. It seems to be every baller I talk to online, I'd say 95% of them have no idea what the theory of relativity is.
Well,
regardless of what I think of it, they don't understand it.
That's not true. And most do not say that gravity is a force. They say it causes a force. Now, what the cause of that is, that is a
hang on, that is not the theory of relativity.
Wow,
I'm not
Zanuck.
talking about the theory
Zanuck,
of
how many
relativity.
times have I told you you're the only one that says that?
I will
You
tell
realize
you
that, right? Everyone else thinks gravity is the force. You're the only one who says gravity causes the force.
And we debunked him. We debunked him. He couldn't find any references and he quit. Then he comes back a week later and says the same thing.
Not only that, he made it implicitly clear that he doesn't understand the cause. He made that statement about 5 minutes ago. Now he's saying he does know the cause.
I don't understand the
another
cause, but I know the
contradiction.
effect.
And the only baller, listen, I'm going to tell everyone that Xanax said today that vacuums suck. So we got a baller.
I was joking around.
One of the top
Come on, you
ballers
know
out
me
there
more than
talking
anybody.
about
You're talking
vacuum
about pressure,
sucking.
doing everything.
Just
and
want to
vacuum
let you
doing
know,
nothing.
I'm not going to forget. Okay?
You can keep on to that as long as you want. You know I was joking. Like you joke a lot.
Oh, he was joking now.
No, you
I
gave
told,
us
I
examples.
told you it was tongue in cheek. My
To Zanek's
exact
defense,
words.
he does know that vacuum.
Sorry,
does
tongue in cheek.
The vacuum does do something.
No, it doesn't do anything. The pressure does everything.
Really? So if you
Vacuum
have an
does nothing,
expanding,
pressure does
if you
everything.
so if you have an expanding volume, which increases the area for the gas to move into, which would cause more gas to be able to move away from the other gas, meaning it would dissipate further from each other. So yes, the presence of the vacuum does do something. If it's expanding, which is the claim of the space vacuum.
Pressure moves from high to low. So it's pressure that's doing it. That's by definition.
Zanuck, you understand the principle that a bigger container can hold more things.
That's
maybe
right.
he'll address it.
But the pressure is doing it.
Zanuck,
Second
you
law.
didn't- Zanuck,
But the
Zanuck,
vacuum is
Zanuck,
participating.
Zanuck. Can you stop rumpusing? He's describing your version of the vacuum being an ever-increasing volume. Now that would do something, wouldn't it? Because it's changing the parameters. It's increasing the volume. That's his point. You just hand-waved it. But
Yeah,
it would
it's like
do
a
something.
squirt gun from a kid, you know. It's called the tube. You buy it for like $5. It's got a valve on one end and it's got a lever, you know, handle, and you put it in the water and you pull it out. And the further you pull it out, the more water fills it up.
And why is that?
Because it's making more volume available.
The pressure is filling.
Right. But why does it fill up more the further you pull the
You're
handle?
creating a low pressure.
You're creating it.
Because you're creating more volume.
No. Lower pressure, higher pressure moves to lower pressure.
Right. So when I get to the end of the tube at halfway, right, and I stop my mechanical action of expansion, the actions will stop. If I then
Correct.
continue the mechanical action of expansion, the actions will continue. So yes, the presence of an increasing volume has a direct effect. Now, yes, the mechanical work from the material side is all the pressure of the material.
No. The pressure on the
However,
outside
they're
pushing the water
synchronous.
in. If you didn't have, you had a vacuum. That
That's
would.
the point I just said, Zanuck.
There's a
The
differential
material that's
pressure.
filling the vacuum is doing the actual expansion. However, the presence of the vacuum's increasing
Second
volume
law-
causes more available space to be vacuumed in. Sorry, it's more available space for the stuff to fill in.
Right.
This
His
is a very
vacuum-
simple principle, Zanuck.
Yeah. His vacuum is doing something. His version of a vacuum, no, not necessarily any vacuum, but just their vacuum is expanding, therefore creating more volume.
Hold on a second. I'll give you an example now. My turn.
So
I have a
I'm
barometer and it
curious,
has a
Zanuck.
vacuum at the top. I have a barometer and I have a vacuum at the top of the barometer. Does everyone understand how that works?
Is the barometer a fixed volume?
We have a fixed volume, yes.
Thank you. So
Hold
it's
on,
not
let me
analogous to my example in any way, shape, or
Why can't I
form.
finish my story? So now I take the volume on top, that volume, and I expand it infinitely high. Does the mercury rise any higher?
Yeah, the pressure's going to decrease. If you increase the volume around the barometer, then what will happen is that the pressure's got a lower amount because it's got a greater volume. So the barometer volume, the barometer reading would drop.
It's closed, and it is fixed
Thank
volume.
you.
Now
So
I expand
it's
the vacuum.
closed with a fixed volume, so not analogous to my example.
Let me finish.
Right, it wasn't analogous. He's correct.
It's
That's a
just
false
rumpusing him.
equivalence fallacy.
All he's doing is endlessly rumpusing the demolition of his rebuttal. So
As soon as you
I
said the
was
word
not
barometer,
You didn't.
no, you
understand.
were finished. Your point was finished. Your point was dead on arrival.
No, I have a vacuum
Yes.
on top of the barometer. I make that vacuum.
You have a fixed volume.
Fixed volume, yes. And
yeah, well, so it's not analogous. Third time it's been said. Discord rumpus every single time. So your vacuum is an expanding vacuum, so it's not analogous.
expanding vacuum, yes. I'm making.
No, you just said fixed vacuum. Now you're double speaking us to make it seem like you were talking about an expanding vacuum. Well, your vacuum, the fundy vacuum, the vacuum you say doesn't do anything, does do something.
Rise, AI. Answer the question.
Oh, you make it seem like we've got a question that we need answering. No, Fundy. Your vacuum does something. You said vacuums don't do anything. Your version of a sky vacuum absolutely does do something. It expands according to the Fundy rhetoric.
No, you got you thinking. I know I have you thinking.
You don't have us thinking. We have you over a barrel. You're just Discord rumpusing so that you don't have to make it seem like you've heard us. That's not going to work here.
I gave you an expanding vacuum and nothing changed.
What is mercury?
Mercury's mass.
No, what is it?
It's a metal, a liquid metal.
Okay, is it a gaseous state?
It can be.
Is it a gaseous state in this example that you're presenting?
In this example I'm giving you, no, but the vacuum is expanding.
Right, so you have 3 points. You have a closed system, and at first you had a fixed volume, and now you have a liquid metal.
No,
How is
both-
this analogous to the atmosphere?
It isn't.
I had a fixed volume with a fixed mass, and I had a vacuum that was expanding infinitely, and nothing changed.
Where, in the barometer?
Yeah. In the
Sorry, no, something did change. Yeah, the barometer. I went through this and clarified it. If you expand the volume, then the pressure on that barometer is going to decrease because you've got a greater volume for the gas to fill, therefore decreasing the pressure. You're saying no change. Again, Zanuck is wrong.
No, I'm not wrong.
Yes, you are wrong. If you have an increasing volume, you decrease the pressure. So you're saying nothing changes? Yes, it does. I clarified this now this is the third time I've clarified. Yeah, it would. The barometer would show a decrease.
That's not how it works. The vapor
Yeah, it is how it works. If you increase the volume, the pressure decreases. So the barometer would show a decrease. It wouldn't show no change as you've asserted 3 times. You are wrong.
No, I'm not wrong, actually.
Yes, you are wrong.
Zanuck, in your model, is your vacuum expanding?
Yes, I mean, I'm making it expand. I have a.
Oh, that's doing something, isn't it? You said vacuums don't do anything.
So then how is the Earth compensating for that?
With air pressure.
How'd you measure that?
Air pressure.
What's the maths for that then? What's the maths for that? Let's get on to area.
So, Zanuck, what you're asking us to believe is that 1/2 of a lemon squeezed into a swimming pool will taste like a lemonade.
That's a false equivalence as well as a red herring.
No, you said it's
Can I add
never
a comment?
expanding. You're just adding more
saying
volume.
that vacuum is absolute at the top of a barometer. If that vacuum continues to expand, nothing will change. That's proof that pressure does the work, vacuum does nothing. Because if vacuum did something, it would change that position of the mercury, and it won't. You can this is mind-boggling. I know.
If in your model
vacuum.
the vacuum is still expanding, then wouldn't the Earth have to do something to create some type of force to overcome that ever-expanding vacuum?
Yes, it would not move.
That's not what he asked.
I mean, what is the Earth doing?
You're talking
How
over
does
me
it do
again.
that?
Crying out loud.
Huh?
Nobody's talking over you. He's asking you, does Earth compensate for the ever-expanding vacuum? Given that you've said vacuums don't do anything, but yet you've also declared that your vacuum's very specifically doing something. Expanding, Zanuck.
Expand indefinitely, the mercury will not move.
Sorry, we're not talking about the vacuum inside the barometer. I appreciate your little ham-handed cheap trick of equivocating between the vacuum inside the top of the barometer and the vacuum of the sky asserted to be expanding. Your claim is vacuums don't do anything. Now, if they don't do anything, how can it be expanding?
Definitely. Why are you talking over me?
You just talked over me. I don't really understand what's going on here. I'm summarising the point, and you're getting very angry and telling me that I'm talking over you when I'm summarising the point. So, you state that vacuums cannot and do not do anything. So they do not expand then.
Yes, the vacuum is expanding indefinitely.
Well, that's doing something, Zanuck. So you're wrong then when you say vacuums don't do anything, because you've got a religious belief in a vacuum that does something. So you saying it doesn't do anything is kind of overcome by your religious belief of it doing something then.
Basic physics here.
Basic physics is a contradiction of you saying vacuums don't do anything because you think you're going to get a win over somebody when they point out that gas expands into vacuums, defeating the argument that the sky is a vacuum. Nevertheless, if you are to claim that vacuums don't do anything, then how can you possibly say that a vacuum can expand?
It can expand. You can make the vacuum
So
larger.
it can do something then. So you are now contradicting yourself. So vacuums do something, contrary to you saying they don't do anything.
Very careful right now. The vacuum can expand into an infinity.
So it can do something then. So when you said earlier that vacuums don't do anything at all, they can't do anything, you were wrong in that assertion then.
No, the pressure does everything. The pressure.
So the pressure causes the vacuum to expand also. Pressure is what's causing the vacuum to get bigger?
No.
So the gas isn't doing it then. So you are just incorrect when you said vacuums don't do anything.
You wanted me to show you a vacuum expanding, getting a larger vacuum for that. It was what was a fixed volume. I'm now making that vacuum longer. Let's say I'm using a plunger and I'm pulling up like a syringe plunger, and I go up infinitely high. That vacuum,
you can't do that.
The mercury would not move. So vacuum is not doing anything because I'm making the vacuum bigger, yet nothing's changing.
Can we forget the barometer for a second? Go back to my question. You've already established the Shut up, Zanuck. You've already established the vacuum is expanding, right? My question to you is, if the vacuum is expanding, which means the volume that the gas can expand into is increasing, how is the Earth compensating for that? What is happening that is maintaining this atmosphere here while we have an expanding vacuum surrounding us? Go.
Thank you. So, for the same reason that the expanding vacuum in the barometer doesn't change the level of the mercury, the atmosphere is held down by its weight. It's
Not analogous.
Perfectly analogous. Why don't you get this? This is like basic stuff, guys.
That's like saying you put a bowling ball in the bottom. That's like saying you put a bowling ball in the bottom and it's not going to go up.
That's not like saying that at all.
A gas is much different.
That's not like saying that at all. That's the worst analogy I've ever heard.
It's called the properties of the state that the matter is currently in.
It's called a illogical fallacy.
Right. So you're saying that comparing
an illogical fallacy.
A gaseous state compared to a liquid state is an analogous example. That's Xanax's claim that's on the table for all listeners at the moment.
What's that?
Yeah, that's what I was going to point out.
That a container filled with gas and a container filled with a liquid is an analogous example.
Isn't that kind of redundant, clown?
Can I add something in here?
Hold on.
Wait 1 second.
We want to get to
AI asked
illogical
me a
fallacies.
question. He said about a bowling ball in a swimming pool. Is that what you said?
Oh my god.
No.
I want Zanuck to
A
answer.
bowling ball in a vacuum chamber on the ground versus a gas.
Okay.
Are they going to behave differently?
What's the difference?
Oh my God. They're entirely different states of matter with different properties.
When you start removing vacuum, that the molecules start resting on the bottom of this chamber, which I have experience doing, by the way. And that's how you make semiconductors, by the same exact process. We count on that happening, by the way, in a vacuum. We introduce.
Can I address Zanuck?
Hold on, let me fit. This is something I have experience with. We introduce gases in a vacuum.
Yes.
Because
our atmosphere is a couple of molecules laying on the ground.
Overlord, AI,
very
come on.
analogous.
Don't be rude. AI, don't be rude. Come on. We count on the weight of these gases to have a downward vector so that they land on the substrates. That's why
downward vector. What's your vector, Victor? We have Clarence. Clarence, Roger.
Always mock what they don't understand.
Wait a minute, Roger.
So this downward force called weight is essential for making semiconductors. Have computers.
Bullshit.
That's how you make semiconductors.
Zanuck, weight's not a force, mate.
That factor.
Zanuck,
and that's what happens, Overlord. You don't get it.
Zanuck, we're trying to address something rather than just let you endlessly monologue. So
weight's not a force.
Can I ask Zanuck a question?
Go ahead.
Okay, you originally said you had a barometer with mercury, and you're going to put a vacuum at the top, right?
Correct.
How long is the tube?
As long as you want it to be.
No, because...
No, don't say no.
No, listen, no.
Why
no?
Why no? Why? I'm not going to call you out on anything.
Zanuck, you've said why no 3 times. Now shut the fuck up. Shut up!
So it does matter because certain elements like water has a head. You can only pull it up in a tube to approximately 32 feet before the pressure is reduced so much it'll start boiling off.
It's going to boil anyway, and you reach a vapor pressure that will equalize, and that's how the principle works.
Equalize?
So
sorry,
yes,
what?
You're
Sorry,
right.
sorry. Can you explain what that means?
Same thing with
sorry,
mercury.
Zanuck, stop talking.
You get a
Zanuck,
the vapor pressure
Zanuck,
equalizes.
Zanuck,
and that's
stop
why it stops
talking.
what it does.
Zanuck, what do you mean when you say equalize? Can you explain that word to me, please?
You have an equalization of vapor pressure versus the atmospheric pressure.
What does equalize mean?
You're not making any sense.
You don't understand how a barometer works.
I'd like you to explain what the word you have used means. What does equalize mean?
When the vapor pressure at the surface of that water is equal in that vacuum, it will stop vaporizing.
Sorry,
so you will have a drop.
Equal
due to
in the
vapor-
vacuum. What do you mean by that?
So it's not gonna be, it'll never be a pure vacuum using water or
Sorry,
mercury, 'cause they both
you're
will
dancing
vaporize.
past my question
They
again,
both
Zanuck.
will vaporize
What do you
evaporate.
mean,
Wait a minute.
Zanuck?
So
you're
you're saying
just
the mercury will
talking through
vaporize?
my question.
Yes.
You've obfuscated
Yes.
it once. Now you won't shut up.
You don't think mercury
You won't shut up.
You don't
Not
think
under a
mercury
vacuum.
Can you
Not
all
under a
stop
vacuum.
rumpusing?
Really?
Sorry,
Oh, really?
hello?
Why don't you go try to...
You're not helping. I want to get Zanuck's
Guys,
attention,
shut
and
down.
he's just obfuscating the crap out of me.
racers of
Oh,
vacuum
time to get closer to the microphone and do what Zanuck's doing until he listens. So, when you say equalised within the vacuum, what do you mean?
So, when you have a vacuum, there will be no pressure. And at no pressure, mercury and other liquids will start to boil. It means they start to change states. That changing of state releases the molecules in such a way they turn into a gas. They change states into a gas. That gas fills that vacuum until the vapor pressure equals the pressure to which the liquid will not vaporize.
So, you say
You
the
understand that?
Zanuck, so you're saying equalisation is the process of the gas filling the vacuum.
Yes.
So gas would fill the sky vacuum.
Until the vapor pressure is equalized.
So equalisation would mean that the gas would fill the sky vacuum.
The larger volume will cause more of that liquid to vaporize till the vapor pressure is equalized.
So if the sky was a vacuum, the liquid would vaporize and equalize into the vacuum.
In mercury, but it's one of the errors of it's one of the errors.
Hey, Nathan, didn't Zanuck just prove exactly what I told him would happen?
Yeah, the gas would fill the available volume according to him, and if the volume is increasing, that would cause the effect of the gas production within the liquids that would then equalize throughout the vacuum. So if the sky was a vacuum, according to what Zanuck has just explained, all of the gas would equalize, filling the vacuum. Or as we phrase it, the gas would fill the available volume.
Ah, there we go. So Zanuck answered my question.
What's
What's going to happen while this vacuum is expanding? Thanks, Zanuck.
One exception to give Zanuck a small branch of leaf. And that is if you have one gas molecule, just one, it might stay at the bottom.
One?
What if I have two?
No, it wouldn't. Gas is moving, even if it's
So
one
two
molecule,
molecules
it would
don't
bounce
go to the
around
bottom
the
of
entire
vacuum?
chamber. It's moving
Let me
at
tell you
high
something.
speed.
So in that vacuum,
You see, I'm talking, so that means Zanuck's also talking, of course. Look, you don't have to like it, you little fundy bitch. This is where your religion comes to die, Zanuck. You flapping around like a little fishy bitch won't stop your religion getting pummeled, okay? Doesn't matter if it's one
AI,
particle
it's
of gas.
the principle to which
Yeah, I didn't just clear the airwaves for you to immediately start talking over me again, you little bitch. Yeah? Doesn't matter if it's one particle of gas, it will bounce around that entire chamber. It won't sit at the bottom.
it does actually. That's how it works.
No, it will bounce around the entire chamber.
When
What
you,
is gas
when you make a
behavior,
semiconductor,
Zanuck?
are you aware?
Sorry, ask
Please
me again,
define
John.
gas behavior, Zanuck.
The chemical vapor deposition process is done in a vacuum.
Please define gas behavior. Simple.
Oh my God, Huey, go back to kindergarten.
How does gas behave?
Please define gas
Fundy,
behavior.
how does gas behave? Does it move randomly and freely in all directions, for example?
You want to talk about Bernoulli? You want to talk about
gas behavior? How does gas behave? What is the behavior of gas? How does gas behave?
They fill the container. Is that what you want me to say?
No.
It moves freely in all directions.
Not evenly though, but freely. Yes, they can freely fill a container. True.
Freely in all directions. So that means resting at the bottom of a vacuum chamber, does it?
Yeah, absolutely. Nathan. Yeah, Quantum Racer laughs because he's so stupid.
Sorry, you're just saying I'm stupid after absolutely demolishing your assertion based on your definition of what gas actually does. So yeah, gas moves in all directions. It's free to do so. So it's not held to the bottom of a gas vacuum chamber. One particle of gas would move. Why is he rumpusing the living shit out of me constantly? Is this literally the only form of defense for the globe now? To just stop the opposition ever being able to speak clearly to an audience? That's your only line of defense, is it, Zanuck?
Not at all.
Well then, I'll say it again, hopefully unimpeded. Gas is free to move in all directions. Up, down, left, right. It doesn't stop. It would bounce around the vacuum chamber. Even a single molecule of gas.
Over.
So yeah, this is the kind of dumbfounded lack of any response that I would ever get. All I'll ever get is when I start talking again after a massive prolonged silence, I get them interrupting when I start summarising the point again. So gas behaviour debunks the assertion that the sky could ever possibly be a vacuum, because gas expands in all directions. You asserting a downward vector to something that fundamentally expands in all directions and is free to move any way it likes is just nonsense.
Can I say something?
And all they can do when I summarise that point is talk through the conclusion. That's the only defence. The globe doesn't have any winning arguments to assert here. They're assigning downward vectors to things that are fundamentally moving in all directions. That's bullshit.
Yeah, they're stationary, moving freely and randomly in all directions. Yes, at high speeds. That means they're
Quantum
stationary.
Racer, can I have a one-on-one with you right now?
That means they're stationary. They're moving freely and randomly at high speeds, but that means they're stationary. Good job. Good job, Zanuck.
Just doing it again. Every word of that he talked through, because it's the demolition of his fundy belief in a sky vacuum. So the only defence isn't a coherent pause so that you can get your point summarised and he can rebut it. He just has to make it seem like he's rebutting it through you. And then when the point's concluded, there will absolutely, definitely be a stone-cold silence so that the question that's definitely reached the audience about gas and its behaviour, moving at high speed, freely and randomly in all directions, including up, that's definitely not going to get assigned a downward vector like his bullshit's asserted. That conclusion...
Mostly down, actually.
You see, it's either talk through the conclusion or leave a stone-cold silence. In this instance, he's decided to talk through the conclusion. No, Fundy, no. Gas, by its nature, defies your assignment of a downward vector to it.
Yes, it's weight. Downward vector, yes.
No, not downward vector. Just saying yes isn't demolishing my little dance where I take down my pants and poo on your assertion. No, by its nature, no, not a downward vector, because it's freely moving in all directions, not down only.
Interesting.
Interesting. Also, me taking off my belt, pulling down my trousers, then pulling down my shorts and curling one out on the crap that you've asserted about a downward vector being assigned to a gas, when by its nature, it's moving in all directions, including into your fundy belief of a sky vacuum, leaving us all choking like Arnie in that film on Mars, whatever the hell it's called.
Total Recall.
Zanuck,
Total
can I ask
Recall,
you a
that's the
question about your
Go ahead. I'm just laughing now.
Just laughing because he's got no rebuttal. Yeah, he's asserting that you can assert weight on gas and that it sits at the bottom of vacuum chambers, which it absolutely doesn't. And then when we point that out nice and concisely, he tells us how he finds it funny. Maybe give us a rebuttal, Zanuck. Not through what I'm saying, not now while I'm still talking. Wait till I concisely summarise it. Yeah, in other words, wait till it's steaming and the flies have come along, and then try and rebut it. So I'm going to try, without the fundy religious zealot talking through me, to summarise my point again. Let's see if Zanuck can contain his ejaculations. Let's see. So, Zanuck, yeah, gas by its nature expands in all directions, including into a fundy religious belief of a sky vacuum, leaving us devoid of gas. You won't be assigning a downward vector to something that fundamentally moves in all directions freely. That, ladies and gentlemen, is another stone cold silence. So all he's got to rebut it is an absolute total rumpusing of the conclusion, or a little click and a few knocks and a few background noises through his stone cold silence. Yeah, let's let that little dump I've took on your assertion of gas with a downward vector being assigned, let's let it fester. Let's let the flies come along, Zanuck. That's the death.
So even in a near vacuum where you have gases present, they do have a downward vector force for sure, and they do accumulate at the bottom of a container.
Sorry, gases do not form at the bottom of a chamber when you have a vacuum in it. They are free to move fundamentally in all directions. That is the nature of gas. So essentially your rebuttal is to assert your fundamentalist religious belief again, in the face of the rebuttal, a repetition of your claim, having had it rebutted and demolished, isn't going to prove your point. No, let's say it slower, even slower for Zanuck, because he's stupid and deaf and a religious zealot. No downward only vector, Zanuck, because gas by its nature expands in all directions. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the third stone cold silence in a row.
Yeah, I put my my answer on the chat since I
just say it, you stupid fundy fuckwit. No, there's no rebuttal. The flies are flying around this turd.
Nathan, we count on air and other gases having weight and settling at the bottom of a vacuum. We use this in making semiconductors.
Show us. Show us.
Go look up chemical vapor.
Show us gas pooling at the bottom of a vacuum, defying its very nature. Show us.
That's the fundamental principle of how we make semiconductors.
So don't tell me about fundamental principles. Show me your fuckwit assertion that gas can pool in the bottom of a vacuum chamber. Yeah, laugh it up, you stupid fuckwit moron. That is fundamentally not what gas does. I'll say it even slower. Let's get nice and close to the mic so I don't have to get out of breath. Here we go. Let's get nice and close. Zanuck, you are a fuckwit. Gas does not pool at the bottom of a vacuum chamber. It expands in all fucking directions to fill the container. That's its nature, you stupid fundy fuckwit.
Yeah, somebody curl one out on that.
Yeah, but the problem is, if there's a little meme on the chat that shows how really what gases do, and that's kind of pretty accurate, actually.
Okay, Nathan, let's solve this real quickly. From the chemistry department at Purdue University, particles in a gas vibrate and move freely at high speeds. From sciencelearn.org, the atoms and molecules in gases are much more spread out than in solids or liquids. They vibrate and move freely at high speeds. from NASA, the molecules are in constant random motion and frequently collide with each other and the walls of the container. Say goodnight, you stationary gas crayon munching schmuck.
And with that, I'll say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of today's debating panel for making such an exciting and enjoyable show possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you in the Nathan Oakley 1980 premiering stream for hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!